Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene a workshop, an executive session, and a regular meeting on Tuesday, July 21st, 2009 at 5:05 p.m., 5:45 p.m., and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall Federal Building located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Workshop item A, presentation and comments on the final draft of the City of Brownsville Land Use Plan and Comprehensive Plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that took time out of your busy schedules to be here present with us for the presentation of Imagine Brownsville, we thank you so very much. At this time, I'm going to turn the floor over to Mr. Brian Godinez for introductions, and so that we may begin with the presentation.
City Commissioners, good afternoon. My name is Fred Rusterberg, and I'm one of the tri-chairs of the Imagine Brownsville Task Force. We appreciate the opportunity to present the final draft to you this afternoon. At tonight's City Commission meeting, we're asking for you to adopt this plan. First of all, we'd like to acknowledge the leadership of the City Commission, the GBIC, and the BCIC for enabling this effort at such a critical time for our city's future. 2+ years ago, the city asked for assistance in organizing and facilitating a comprehensive plan together with the planning team spearheaded by Ambiotech. I invited Dr. Juliet Garcia and Irv Downing to serve with me as tri-chairs, and we then established a task force made up of a cross-section of community leaders. We structured committees and subcommittees to address 5 technical and all-encompassing areas: economic, social, infrastructure, environment, and civic. Each committee was led by tri-chairs, one of each tri-chair being a city commissioner, and so on. We didn't ask the consultants to develop a plan and then try to sell it to the community. We took an approach at the grassroots level, attracted many experts and input from both the private and public sectors, and developed a plan from the ground up. So, after 2+ years, we'd like to thank the City Commission, hundreds of task force members, the city staff, and the consulting team for all of your hard work to get us to this critical stage of completing the plan. You've all provided many, many hours of time and effort with input and guidance throughout the process, all of which was needed to develop a world-class plan for our community. As the tri-chair for the task force, I can say that we're very pleased with the final product. However, this is really a beginning. We are impressed that all public and private entities in our area work together so diligently through this process. We want to continue that spirit and cooperation as we move forward with the implementation of the plan. The comprehensive plan is a call to action for all of us to work together. It's a roadmap for the community that shares our vision and defines our success for the years ahead. It lays out a way to get there with goals, priorities, and strategies. It makes our city more competitive and improves our economic conditions and our quality of life. If we don't implement it, there will be severe consequences ahead for all of us. We're here this afternoon to present an executive synopsis to you and ask you, the City Commission, to adopt it and have you continue to lead our community to work together toward its vision and implementation. We need your leadership to make this plan work, as well as the community's continued leadership. Thank you, and I'll turn this over at this time to Brian Godinez.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Commissioners, City staff, and the citizens of Brownsville. I'm going to be your guide, technical guide, as well as narrative guide, and also be introducing various presenters to introduce many elements of the comprehensive plan. What we hope to accomplish is to give you a fairly good overview of the plan itself and the elements of the plan, and also for the public to understand what the plan is about, the context of the plan, and as we proceed forward, now we go into the implementation phase, hopefully with the adoption tonight from the City Commission. So we hope to be done in about 45 minutes, and if you'll bear with me, I'm going to be working with staff because we have various technical components to our presentation, and also working with the director of Channel 12 in terms of showing various images throughout this process. So hang in there with me as I go through that, and as I said, I'm going to be bringing up several people to speak, and we have some people on video as well. But let me set some background up in terms of the comprehensive plan going forward. Fred had mentioned that this is a call to action, and this literally is a framework for action for movement going forward. It's building a competitive community for the future. The planning horizon has been set for 10 years, although many of the main strategies or the key strategies have been suggested and recommended over the next 5 years. This plan can go out beyond longer than 10 years. The purpose of the plan is to provide a foundation for guiding the future growth and development of the city as it's consistent with the vision and goals of the community. We'll be introducing the vision and goals of this comprehensive plan through this presentation. Let me walk you through a bit of the table of contents. We have put the plan up on the Imagine Brownsville website, and I'll show the public as well as you all and individuals here how to find it on the website. But what I want to first do is just walk you through the plan elements and give you an idea of what you'll be looking at when you go through the document from the content standpoint. The first 4 sections deals with the process itself, the goals and objectives through the planning framework. Then we introduce the vision and challenges that the community has organized and has inputted, but the challenges that we face in terms of getting there. Then there are the core elements of the plan. There are several core elements. There are 4 core elements and 6 what we call smart sustainable growth elements in the plan. And then lastly, at the end, there's the implementation and the recommendations that we have outlined for implementation. I'll walk you through what we recommend over the next 12 months in terms of implementation as we go forward. So the process itself, let me sort of back up a little bit and let you know what we've been doing over the last couple of years very quickly. We began with the creation of a task force. And this was a very interesting process because from initially up, the direction we got from the commission, your commission and others that we had spoken to, we thought that for this to be able to work effectively, it had to be a bottom-up approach with a lot of community input. So a task force was established, and initially it was established by and led by 3 individuals, Irv Downing, Dr. Julieta Garcia, and Fred Rusterberg. They in turn enrolled 16 members of the community to form an executive committee. Those executive committee members then enrolled 59 individuals to be co-chairs in various subcommittees throughout this process. Those 59 individuals then enrolled over 300 individuals to be part of this task force structure. And they were all working inside of 5 planning dimensions: economic, civic, social, environment, and infrastructure. And those are the core planning dimensions that all of the objectives, the vision, and the strategies are all built around. There was a series of meetings, workshops. There were several. We had 3 core workshops where the public was invited throughout various phases of the plan, where input was given to us and where they were allowed to give us direction and guidance and actually go through some selection processes in between some of those workshops. We had strategy workshops, objective workshops, community briefings, leadership briefings, a tremendous amount of public institutional meetings. We met many times throughout this process. The way it feels that we had probably over 1,200 individuals from this community involved in this process during the last couple of years of Imagine Brownsville. The website was a key communication element. Many of you have been on there. There are videos, there are process updates, project updates, elements of the plan, meeting notices, opinion editorials. Everything that we did from a narrative or from a release standpoint to the public is on this website at imaginebrownsville.com. And let me take a quick second to introduce the public to where the plan is. Betty, do you mind going to the website? Let me put the website up real quickly. If you go to the imaginebrownsville.com website, on the home page, it takes a second to download. You'll see right there. Can you scroll to the right, Betty? You'll see the Imagine Brownsville Comprehensive Plan Final Draft. You click More, and there'll be a small disclaimer. Scroll down, Betty, and then you click I understand and accept these terms and conditions. Submit. Once you submit, then you scroll down, and with Adobe Reader, every element of the table of contents that I introduced are there for downloading and for viewing from start to finish on the comprehensive plan. You can go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you. The plan starts with a vision, the vision that the community created. It's associated with outcome objectives that lays the foundation for the development of the plan. It articulates the direction and form in which the community wants Brownsville to grow. It provides a basis for development, selection, and ranking of the strategies that will be employed to move the city along the direction established by the vision, and establishes a mechanism for tracking the city's progress towards its goals. And the vision that was selected, the vision that was worked on through many meetings and many discussions from a lot of input, is this: Brownsville builds on its unique historic heritage and cultural, strategical international location, people, and abundant natural resources to create a livable, prosperous, engaged, connected, and sustainable community led by effective and responsible leaders. Now, each one of those words and those phrases and those statements that are incorporated here represent the 5 planning dimensions, worked on by 9 different subcommittees by over 300 individuals to create this vision. This is the foundation where objectives, indicators, and strategies are built from, and that the rest of this document incorporates and integrates from this vision statement. There are 12, what we call the 12 big themes, where the objectives are originating from that tie into the vision. And they're each led by a key word, and they relate back to those planning dimensions. Prosperous, a community with low poverty rates based on targeted industrial clusters that offer good jobs, paid livable wages. Efficient, community with a public sector that provides high quality levels of services with competitive tax rates. Functioning and mobile, community with efficient and well-maintained infrastructure. Sustainable, green community that protects and maintains its environmental resources and it promotes environmental awareness. Safe and prepared, community with adequate police, fire, EMS, and emergency response personnel and equipment. Talented, community with a critical mass of individuals with high levels of educational attainment and workforce skills. Healthy community with low disease rates and improved access to health care. Vibrant, community with a revitalized downtown core that provides a strong sense of place. Livable, community with neighborhoods that preserve open spaces and promote parks, walking bike trails, and walkable pedestrian-friendly streets. Equitable, community whose residents enjoy fair and non-discriminatory access to quality of life and economic development. Engaged, a community of civically minded individuals that support and mentors qualified leaders. And collaborative, community with strong institutions that work cooperatively towards the community's vision. This is where the objectives, indicators, and strategies of the plan work from, these 12 vision themes. We call them the big themes that you'll see over and over again as you go through the document, that it integrates strategies tied to these vision statements. So the blueprint, excuse me just a second, I'm working 2 PowerPoint presentations here as I go back and forth here, so bear with me just a second. The 12 themes summarize a vision that's necessary for planning the future of Brownsville. It provides a set of desired outcomes that define where the city wants to go, but the vision alone does not provide a blueprint for how to get there. The vision, operationally, is done through a use of indicators so that you can measure and identify the gaps between the vision and the current reality. It understands the key root causes of the gaps, the constraints that prevent the community from realizing its vision, and develops strategies targeted specifically to overcome the constraints and root causes. Provides the foundation for setting goals and track the community's progress toward reaching its vision utilizing scorecards. The scorecards, and there are over 50, are tied to the achievement of the objectives of what the community wants and needs over the next several years. And I'll give you an example. For instance, per capita income. There's a scorecard. Right now the baseline is at $11,161. This is tied to economic development and the prosperity and economic factors of the community in terms of its growth and prosperity. The baseline is $11,161. The target that we've recommended is at $18,000. This is something that will be utilized during the implementation phase so that we can measure and track the effectiveness of how well the plan is doing in terms of its implementation throughout the next several years. Another, for example, is high school education attainment scores. 25 years or younger of our population, the percentage is at 58% are with less than a high school education. We want to, 25 years with high school education, we want to target 75%. And lastly, recycling. We're right now at a baseline of 1%. Over the next 10 years and beyond, we have a target of 20% for the percentage of solid waste that's recycled in the community. We'll be able to measure that and track based on the strategies tied to the indicators to see if that we are getting there or getting close to there. And that's the purpose of the scorecards. As I said, there are over 50 of these that are tied to the strategies of the comprehensive plan. Now, Brownsville has many strengths, and it has the fortune of having some unique strengths. The most significant of these include our proximity to Mexico's markets, our multimodal ports of entry, land, air, and sea, a sophisticated cross-border manufacturing hub, a growing four-year university, a municipality-owned electrical utility, and rich natural resources environment. And they provide a strong foundation for supporting a healthy, diversified, and sustainable economy that is critical to the well-being of this community. But there are significant challenges to the vision. And these challenges are many. We have, as I mentioned earlier, a low per capita disposable income. We have low educational attainment rate. Our job creation growth rate outstrips our population growth rate. And you can see the numbers there underneath each of these bulleted items that I'm mentioning. 75% of our workforce earn below state median income at $13.75 an hour. McAllen's at 53%. We have low municipal levels of service. General fund per capita, the general fund revenue per capita, McAllen's at 692 and we're at 480. The tax revenue gap. Now, we want to target 75 to 80%. Municipalities that do well and provide high levels of quality public service have, from their general fund, are sourced with property taxes at 75 to 80%. Well, in Brownsville, it's closer to 20 to 30%. We have a 60% tax revenue gap. Most of our taxes come from retail sales tax. They're not very sustainable. What we want to do is increase the revenue source from property taxes, which will ultimately be able to provide higher levels of municipal services. We have low assessed value, land values, poor value capture, the chaotic urban sprawl and conflicting land uses. Irv Downing will speak more about that when he introduces the land use plan. Eddie Campidano will speak about our infrastructure plan and one of the challenges that we face in terms of the disconnect between land use, economic development, and infrastructure. Now, the MPO and the RMA have done good work and are doing good work with the planning that they're doing, but we're still not there yet. Our regional transportation system is not fully developed to capitalize in regional markets. We're just not there yet. We have double vision. We have a lot of institutions, public institutions, that are out doing many, many things, but there's no connectivity, there's no coordination with the institutions working together. The jurisdictions overlap. And lastly, our bottom line is that we're not competitive. The fundamental challenge that we face is bridging the reality gap. The reality gap is economic. We're unable to compete effectively in today's global economy, largely because we're a factor-driven economy, as opposed to more advanced economics or economies that are driven by investment and innovation. We're underpinned by location and labor factors, specifically our location along the border and its ability to supply low-cost labor. While at the same time, that was previously a very good competitive advantage for us because of the trade barriers globally that have come down and lowered, our competitiveness has also been dropping as well. And we have to transform our economy from labor-driven to one of more of innovation and one of more of investment. I apologize. I am not catching up with the slides with Betty's presentation in terms of what I'm doing down here. I have to remind myself to do that. So how do we move forward? The bottom line is that we're not competitive. We need to move towards a sustainable, competitive community. We need to take advantage of our competitive advantages, assets, and opportunities to become sustainable. In the comprehensive plan, we build our strategies around what we call the 12 pillars of sustainability, or 10. And these 10 supporting pillars working together create a community with high levels of quality of life and economic development that are consistent with the vision that we've outlined. And each pillar is necessary, and you can see education, workforce skills, civic engagement, innovation, land use. But they can't work singularly, they have to work together to stay consistent to build a sustainable community. So we have a recipe for moving forward. We set measurable target goals based on our vision. We transform our economy from factor-driven to one that leverages our assets and strengths. We work together to prioritize our public sector initiatives and investments to increase our level of competitiveness to attract greater public sector investments. And we work the comprehensive plan and measure its progress. This is the recipe for moving forward with the comprehensive plan. Now, I mentioned earlier that there are core elements and sustainable elements. The future land use plan is the first core element of the comprehensive plan, and it's followed by the downtown plan, and then the economic plan, and the mobility infrastructure plan. And then supporting those four core elements are what we call the smart growth sustainable: civic, environmental, equity, healthcare, education, emergency management. I have several speakers that we've invited to introduce you and give you a brief overview of each of some of these plans, specifically the four core and a few of the sustainable growth ones. And with that, let me run a video and introduce you Herb Downing, co-chair of the Imagine Brownsville Task Force. He's going to briefly explain to you the land use plan, its purpose, its challenges, and some of the key strategies of what we're doing for the community. Betty, you want to roll the video?
Land use plan implementation will be carried out by the City Commission and the Planning and Zoning Commission, principally through the zoning and subdivision ordinances. The land use plan is the document to guide implementation of these ordinances. You know, land use management is a key element for improving Brownsville. The technical assessment done in Imagine Brownsville revealed several major challenges we face on land use related matters. You know, the natural environment of Brownsville is challenging just by the fact that our topography is very flat and a high percentage of the land area is in the 100-year floodplain. So we need to address that in any future land use plan. Brownsville is experiencing right now a great deal of urban sprawl and conflicting land uses. There's incremental growth without a coordinated vision about what comes next. And this translates into a low ad valorem tax base. So we're not really efficiently putting our land uses out there, and it's costing us more money, and as a result, in the end, by a higher tax rate. The community is also more vehicle friendly than it is pedestrian friendly. And we have an inconsistent zoning plan. The land use plan before you today really tries to combine this analysis with a vision for the future to shape and direct future land use growth with proposed strategies, essentially key items for managing future growth. First thing is on zoning, the recommendation is to zone now. Zone the entire city to direct future growth so that developers know what kind of things the city wants to see in certain parts of the community. Transportation facilities, that those are better tied to appropriate land uses. The plan promotes nodal development, essentially aggregating major development around key transportation nodes in the city so that we best use the infrastructure that we've all invested in. The plan itself includes 24 different land use modules. It organizes the city so that appropriate development is directed to an appropriate geographic area. The land use plan, when it's adopted, supports several of the vision themes in the Imagine Brownsville Comprehensive Plan. It provides measures to improve land values, to increase property tax revenues, and to reduce the tax gap that we face. It reduces the cost of municipal services by promoting infill development and reducing sprawl to reduce municipal service costs. It promotes policy to create value, to attract private capital and cluster-based industrial development. This planning process and the analysis of land use is a result of an unprecedented citizen effort. A lot of people took a look at this, examined things, examined the strategies to make Brownsville better. I fully endorse the land use plan element of this plan and hope that you are able to approve it today. Thank you.
I want to acknowledge David Vela and Larry Holtzman and Ben Medina, who co-chaired the Land Use Subcommittee, and also the exceptional work of MESA, the consulting team that were responsible for the land use plan. It was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission about 10 days ago, and it was passed and recommended for adoption for the City Commission very, very recently. PowerPoint? Let me invite George Ramirez up here. He's going to walk you through the downtown plan. He was one of the co-chairs of the Downtown Cultural Committee.
Thank you, Brian. Commissioners, good afternoon. My name is George Ramirez, and I was privileged to act as co-chair with Dr. Roberto Robles and Professor Larry Loff of the Cultural Subcommittee, which was part of the Social Committee of the Imagine Brownsville Comprehensive Plan Development Process. The Cultural Subcommittee addressed issues pertaining to historic preservation, arts and entertainment, and the revitalization of historic downtown Brownsville. The Cultural Subcommittee included active players and stakeholders of nearly all the cultural entities and downtown interest groups of our community. They included the city's historic downtown and heritage offices, the Midi Cultural District, the Camille Playhouse, the Fine Arts Museum, the Gladys Porter Zoo, the Historic and Heritage Museums, the UTB TSC Fine Arts Department, the Downtown Revitalization Advisory Committee, downtown business men and women, independent working artists, and the Brownsville Society of Performing Arts, which I serve as president. Shortly after initiating discussions and agreeing on general objectives, the Cultural Subcommittee soon realized that the creation of a comprehensive downtown revitalization plan would also address many, if not most, of the needs of our community related to arts and entertainment and historic preservation. So the principal purpose of the plan soon became clear: to create a vibrant Brownsville with an economically strong downtown core that provides a positive sense of place, promotes preservation of its historic resources, and provides diverse arts and cultural entertainment opportunities. As a result, Brownsville residents will greatly benefit by a much improved quality of life that would also attract visitors, capitalize on our unique location, and rich, colorful history to become the premier heritage tourism destination in the Rio Grande Valley. Just a few of the specific strategies that we recommend include initiating the secure reinforcement of the Rio Grande levee between the Gateway Bridge and the B&M Bridge to replace the unsightly and unwelcome Homeland Security Wall. There it is. Latter version. Creating a downtown revitalization tax increment reinvestment zone to supplement private investment in a commercial cultural development that would incorporate an important riverside feature and provide for development of the entire historic downtown district. Launching the long-delayed Capitol Theater restoration project to serve as a much-needed community venue and principal economic driver for the cultural arts and entertainment district in historic downtown Brownsville. Creating a pedestrian trolley corridor all along 11th Street, from Fronton Street all the way to Four Corners and beyond, incorporating stops along the Capitol Theater, Market Square, the Immaculate Conception Cathedral Plaza, the newly restored County Courthouse, and other points of interest along the way. Creating an aesthetically pleasing corridor leading to and from the UTB campus along International Boulevard. Develop a productive utilization plan for property within the Banco, ITEC, or the ex-Amigo Land district. create a cultural arts reinvestment program to channel a share of the revenues produced by the downtown entertainment district to provide badly needed funding for our community's cultural and historic preservation efforts. Most importantly, implement all the strategies and make all the investments needed to expedite the development of the heritage tourism industry in Brownsville. The benefits of implementing these strategies are obvious. They will attract quality enterprises and retain Brownsville's talent pool. They will increase downtown property values and multiply its sales tax revenues. They will provide hundreds of new jobs, give rise to dozens of small businesses, and allow us to finally capitalize on our history, our location, and our cultural diversity. Imagine our downtown as a vibrant urban center we can finally be proud of. It would be our legacy, our gift to dozens of future generations to come. It would change Brownsville forever. Everyone in Cultural Subcommittee that participated in this process strongly encourage you to support and recommend these strategies and their implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. I want to acknowledge Steve Tillotson and Kel Munoz, who worked diligently with the downtown group and the committee and many other members of the community, the development of the strategies for the downtown plan. Let me invite Oscar Garcia up. He'll walk you through the economic plan of the comprehensive plan. Oscar?
Good afternoon. My name is Oscar Garcia. I'm the chairman of the board of the Brownsville Economic Development Council. And before I begin, I'd really like to acknowledge all the hard work of the co-chairs that partook in this. Commissioner Anthony Troiani, Bill Connor, Ray Lopez, and Rosailda Posada, as well as all the subcommittee chairs and work group members. The purpose of the economic plan was to create a Brownsville that is economically strong, with a targeted industrial base that provides good-paying jobs for a well-educated and highly skilled workforce. The plan is also intended to create an efficient community with a public sector that can provide high-quality levels of services with a competitive tax rate. And then we're back to competitive. The whole idea of this plan is truly to help make our community more competitive, not just within the valley, but on a regional and a nationwide basis. As we've heard tonight, we face serious issues with our low ad valorem tax base, low income per capita, low education attainment, high poverty rates, unemployment, just to name a few of the very daunting hurdles that we must overcome. The questions that the Imagine Brownsville Comprehensive Plan helps answer is, how do we address these issues? What is our plan of attack? And what will be our strategy to achieve success? One of the key economic growth strategies developed by the plan is the development of the traded clusters in industries where Brownsville has the greatest competitive advantage, and increase the level of cluster integration. Sounds simple. It makes sense. Heavy manufacturing is one of the best examples of one of our core industry clusters. And how do we go about its development? Recruit supporting industries. Steel mill, metal casting, all different types of companies we can locate in and around the Port of Brownsville, which is one of our core differentiators for our community. Implement better land use coordination and infrastructure improvements. Increase electrical capacity at the port. Create a certified mega site for that region. And again, we're back to land use for that area between the airport and the port. Target workforce skill development. Electrical and engineering opportunities, industrial engineering, material resistance engineering, molds, tools and dies, machinery design, manufacturing processes. Based on our analysis, the outcomes for this development are extensive. Over 4,300 jobs created, over 10% increase in regional GDP, over 35% increase in property tax revenue, nearly 4% increase in sales tax, and an increase in the average income in Brownsville could rise from $11,000 to $21,000. As you can imagine, this cannot all be accomplished by our public institutions alone. We need the private sector to see value and the opportunity to realize a return on investment in our community. That being said, we can make strategic investments in our community that will attract the private sector. By increasing the competitiveness of Brownsville, this can be accomplished by focusing on targeted improvements in infrastructure, strengthening of the individual institutions and focusing their full potential in a coordinated and cooperative manner. This must be done to make Brownsville the place where both outside firms wish to locate their companies and where local firms have the opportunity to allow their talents to flourish and realize success. It's all connected. As a representative of the Brownsville Economic Development Council, I want to express our endorsement of the comprehensive plan and hope that the Commission will adopt the plan as well. And together we will work to implement this plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to also acknowledge the fine consulting work of Dr. Pablo Rie and Dr. Mustafa Maki, who contributed quite a bit of work with the various committees and institutions in the development of the economic plan. Let me introduce you to Mr. Eduardo Campirano, who's going to walk you through the mobility infrastructure plan.
Good afternoon, Mayor Almada, members of the City Commission. My name is Eduardo Campirano, and I co-chair the Infrastructure Task Force, along with co-chairs Mayor Pro Tem Charles Atkinson and Mr. Dennis Sanchez. The Infrastructure Task Force included subcommittees on transportation, utilities, drainage, and telecommunications. Thank you for this opportunity. The purpose of the infrastructure plan is to create a Brownsville with an efficient and well-maintained transportation system that promotes regional economic development and high levels of regional and local mobility services. The plan also creates efficient and well-maintained utility and drainage systems that provide affordable and high-quality levels of service and promotes recycling and the responsible use of our resources. Brownsville faces critical challenges, many of which we experience on a daily basis. Examples include moderate and worsening levels of congestion along east-west corridors, lack of sufficient right-of-way for roadway improvements, insufficient budget for street maintenance, planned street improvements not sufficient to keep up with the increasing system demands, land use and transportation systems that are not pedestrian-friendly, lack of sufficient electrical power necessary to attract heavy manufacturing industries at the Port of Brownsville, insufficient multimodal link between the airport and the Port of Brownsville. Large areas of Brownsville are within the 100-year floodplain. There are multiple drainage entities with no consistent set of guidelines and policies, and sometimes unclear jurisdictional boundaries, and no designated budget for drainage capital improvement projects. The task force participants worked extensively on the development of many strategies that focus on addressing these challenges. Examples include aggressively pursue strategic regional corridors, including the East Loop project, to support a multimodal logistics heavy manufacturing hub at the airport and port industrial node, improve east-west mobility through corridor management, signal timing and coordination, intersection turn lane improvements, and transit prioritization to serve local mobility. Increase electrical power capacity by 75 megawatts to support the heavy manufacturing hub at the Port of Brownsville, and to create a single accountable drainage entity with the authority to implement and enforce drainage regulations and a mechanism to procure funds for drainage projects and maintenance. By implementing these strategies, the benefits for our community will be many and obvious to our citizens. They will provide improved east-west mobility, which will result in decreased congestion and traffic delays, provide for economic development opportunities at the airport and the Port of Brownsville, support the heavy manufacturing cluster at the Port of Brownsville. By having a strategy to address drainage throughout the city, we can decrease the incidence of flooding, provide for a mechanism to have a designated budget for improvements in capital projects, and create consistent rules with clear jurisdictional boundaries for enforcement of drainage strategies. The members of the technical subcommittees and the task force spent many hours developing these strategies and working on these plans, and we wholeheartedly support the comprehensive planning effort and hope that you will adopt the plan for a brighter and better Brownsville. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you.
I want to acknowledge the consulting work of Kemley Horn out of Dallas, who assisted in the development of the infrastructure and mobility plan. Next up, I mentioned there are smart, sustainable growth plan elements that support the 4 core elements that you've heard about. We're going to just walk you through 3 of those. Let me invite Sharon Pugnat to come up and talk briefly about the environmental plan.
Good afternoon. I'm honored to be here today to share with you the purpose of the environmental element of the comprehensive plan. A plan that has been long in the making, and I'm here to tell you it is sound and it is doable. The purpose is to have Brownsville become a green, sustainable community that protects and maintains its rich environmental resources, which includes resacas and habitats, and promotes environmental awareness and education and responsible natural resource use through recycling and conservation. In reaching the city's environmental goals, there are several key challenges that must first be overcome. Just to name a few of these challenges, the city has very limited recycling and yet high waste production. Litter is a major problem in our community, and I would challenge anyone in this room to dispute that statement. We have a litter problem, and we have become apathetic to the litter, and we need to reverse that cycle. We have underappreciated and mismanaged resaca networks. These features are one of the resources that makes Brownsville unique while providing important habitat, drainage, and aesthetic qualities. These systems must be protected and must be preserved. We must act now and work together and commit to what needs to be done. One of the key strategies that has been incorporated into the comprehensive plan is a more extensive recycling program. We need to develop a pilot study for curbside recycling, which includes identifying participation rates, cost/benefits, with, of course, the intent of implementing such a program. We must increase community awareness and education in terms of recycling, and we need to include a glass crushing program at one of our city drop-off locations. And as city officials, you must ask yourself, how does the city benefit from a well-developed recycling program? Well, to name a few, opportunities will exist to expand on businesses and employment. There will be a decrease on the demand of landfill space, and that's a direct economic benefit. There will be a sustainable use of valuable but limited natural resources, and there will be improved air quality through lower demand of trees to produce paper. Another vital strategy, and there are others, is to develop a long-term resaca management plan that includes implementation of smart growth principles and the comprehensive plan's land use element to preserve and restore their integrity. Mayor and Commissioners, this plan is very important to us because it puts into place projects and ideas that will help everyone and everything in our community, from the parrot to the businessman. And isn't that really why we're all here? To help our community, to help each other, to make Brownsville safe and beautiful and healthy and sustainable? That's why I devoted my time to it, because my beloved Brownsville is worth preserving and protecting. Hence the title and the dream, Imagine Brownsville. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the time that I've had here today. I want to share with you one last thing, and that's a Native American proverb that is one of my favorites. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. And I totally believe that, just as I believe that every day is Earth Day, and that we are all responsible for the things that we do. And so in light of that, I would ask that you endorse this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you mean to wear green today? Did you mean to wear green today?
Oh, I did that on purpose. I'm getting greener by the minute.
I want to acknowledge Dr. Jude Benavides and Whitco Benavides for all the work they did with the Green Team in putting this plan together. Let me invite Paula Gomez to briefly walk you through the healthcare plan for the city.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you this afternoon for having us here. The purpose of the healthcare plan is to have a healthy community with low disease rates and improved access to healthcare with a focus on prevention. And we face many challenges: high rates of diabetes, high rates of obesity in both adults and children, shortage of primary care health providers, shortage of nursing professionals and other allied health professionals, large numbers of people without health insurance, a shortage of medical facilities and allied health training facilities. We identified and developed many strategies for improving healthcare in our community, and one that we believe is critical is to develop a citywide health advisory and support group. Members would include community leaders representing city and county health departments, local hospitals, private physicians, academic institutions, faith and community-based organizations, community health advocates, and the business community. The group would advise the city and help implement a healthcare plan to improve the health status of all residents, including city employees. The benefits help the city to understand priority health issues affecting the community and how decisions of local government impact these issues, as well as to identify resources that can be used by the city to achieve its priority health goals and objectives in a cost-effective manner through grants, partnerships, foundations, etc. I've been involved in healthcare for about 37 years. In that time, Brownsville has changed, and so has the face of healthcare. Presently, we have 3 hospitals, over 150 physicians, and a continuous need for qualified support personnel and professional staff. The need for accessible service has continued with the growing population and costs associated with health insurance, both public and private. There's also a great need for residents who have no health care coverage. This is the reason that when asked to work on this project, I agreed. The willingness of people to serve was overwhelming. Reality set in when confronted with the needs, and so many willing experts agreeing to work on the change. Imagine Brownsville has been an opportunity for the community to come together to change the face of healthcare in this region. We have an opportunity to become a best practice, to show ourselves and others that we can come together for the greater good, that we can make a change for generations to come. Our emphasis will be on prevention. This is a great investment of time, energy, and resources, and the results will be amazingly good for our community and future generations. I hope that you will join me today and support this comprehensive planning effort and adopt the plan for a healthier Brownsville. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Paula. David Merrill would introduce you to the education plan.
Actually, I'm going to hit the highlights real quickly. It's a lot like taking a drink from a fire hose to try to absorb all of this. So I'm going to tell you a couple of things a little out of the stream of the way other people have presented it. Every one of these reports has certain key objectives, key issues, strategic elements, and success indicators. In other words, there's a key thing that we want to do, and there's a way to measure it. Every plan in here has that element in it. I'm going to quickly tell you a little bit about the education side of that. And if you will, it's designed to be a graphic, but it's a very telling graphic. If you look at the chart on the right of this graphic, you'll see a blue line, red line. Blue line represents high school completion rates in Brownsville in the year 2005 versus the state of Texas. 2006, oddly enough, you notice the graduation and completion rate has actually trailed off during the year 2007 from where it had been in 2005. The key element, the key ingredient, the key objective for the education plan is that every high school student will graduate. Every graduate will be ready for a career, post-secondary education, or a career, not a burger flipping, but a career. Key issues in that include the low graduation rate and a high dropout rate, some as high as 50% in some neighborhoods. Strategic elements would be close cooperation and communication between the business and education professionals, and matching up with the economic development side and the infrastructure side, where we educate people for those industrial and service sector clusters that are most beneficial to the community, most likely to succeed in Brownsville. And we'll be able to measure this through things like the graduation rate, the dropout rate, and indeed the number of people in this town who have associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees, and graduate degrees. I want to leave you real quickly. First of all, thank you for listening. I sure hope you will support this, but I want to leave you with one number that has stuck with me for many years. In the year 2001, the Federal Reserve Bank in Dallas did a study about the border, about Cameron County, and said that if Cameron County could raise that high school graduation rate just to the state level, not to an exemplary level, but just to the state level, it would mean $744 million a year in economic improvement for Cameron County. That number today would probably be almost $1 billion, $960 million in a year if we could just raise our graduation rates to the state average. To me, that makes that as important an element as you can study. You can ask, why would the City Commission care? But that's the reason we care. I really appreciate your listening. I appreciate your being here to hear it, and I look forward to a positive vote this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Lastly, we have Tracy Wickett, who could not be here tonight, and very briefly going to explain the civic plan, the last presentation we have.
Thank you. The Civic Committee had 3 subcommittees concerned with leadership, interinstitutional cooperation, and volunteerism and civic engagement. The outcome of the Civic Plan is a community with strong organizations working cooperatively and collaboratively, citizens who are engaged in voting, voicing their opinions, and volunteering, and strong, skilled, and supported leaders, and the opportunity for those with leadership potential to develop it fully. The barriers we face are very low rates of voter participation. There's no formal mechanism for recruiting, training, or deploying volunteers. There's a perception that public entities don't cooperate, and there is a lack of true leadership training in our community. Some of the strategies we propose include expanding quality leadership training opportunities, creating a volunteer center, and creating an interagency planning group for the implementation and monitoring of this comprehensive plan. It's said that if everybody is responsible, no one is responsible. And that will be true for the implementation of the Imagine Brownsville plan and its strategies. The Civic Committee strongly recommends a mechanism for ensuring that the plan strategies are implemented and that the effectiveness of those strategies is measured and reported upon. I strongly endorse this plan, and I strongly encourage the City Commission to appoint a group to oversee the implementation and effectiveness of the plan.
We've hit the 6 o'clock mark. I have to acknowledge that we need about 10 more minutes, and we'll be done with our presentation. Is that all right? Thank you. The final section of the plan outlines the implementation of the comprehensive plan, and the realities, the scope and goals and objectives included in the vision identified by the community during the planning process are beyond the scope of any one public institution in Brownsville. The scope of responsibility of the City of Brownsville is the broadest of any public institution, yet there are a number of critical planning components that are beyond the scope of the city. The magnitude of the required institutional capacity is beyond the capacity of any one public institution. Only by leveraging the resources of all public institutions in Brownsville towards common goals can the scope of the plan be addressed. Public sector funding capacities are interrelated. All public sector entities in Brownsville share a common overlapping tax base. So when one institution borrows from that tax base, it restricts the borrowing capacity of the other remaining institutions. Since the community's over-tapping bonding capacity is so limited, it's important that all bond issues be coordinated to ensure that the most pressing issues are addressed and the greatest return on investment is achieved. We've recommended that an entity be created. We call it the Comprehensive Plan Coordination Board, to assist with the implementation of the plan. The structure as proposed is based on the realization that the implementation is beyond the scope, as I mentioned, of any one institution and or the city, and requires the involvement of the private sector. So what we're proposing is a reorganized structure, a hybrid model of the task force, dimension committees, and the cluster focus groups that are organized as part of the comprehensive planning effort. So it would include the revised task force, which you see there in the middle, and then a communication flow up and down between an executive committee that could be comprised of the public institutions, maybe comprised of the chairman of each of the institutions and maybe the executive chief or chief officer or executive director, working in conjunction with a technical support group that provides the necessary technical support to the task force to carry out its mission of developing strategies and tracking the progress of the vision for the community. So the organizational functions would be to develop, prioritize, and coordinate implementation of strategic initiatives, coordinate lobbying and public sector funding efforts, promote institutional strengthening and interinstitutional cooperation, and execute performance tracking using the scorecards that I introduced you earlier as a means of tracking the success of the comprehensive plan and then reporting back to the implementation and or coordination board throughout the process. What we in essence are proposing is a communication platform where on the left you see the planning dimension committees from the task force, and as they're going through the process of making recommendations based on prioritized strategies and or evaluating funding sources, they're working in conjunction with the 5 clusters and the public sector, which is the gold group coming down towards the top to bottom. And there's a constant communication flow going back and forth throughout the process where there's collaboration, there's communication, and there's cooperation. How do we go forward? Well, here's what we think the first year would look like. We have various steps that we're recommending, and there's about 11. And you can see from the timeline, beginning now, assuming that the plan is adopted, that in July, we'd start with the implementation board structure and finalizing that over the next couple of months. Start finalizing the scorecards from the targets and priority standpoint. Select the top 5-year candidate strategy initiatives. Now, we've recommended over 35 of them, and you'll find them in the introduction section of the comprehensive plan. Finalize funding capacity options, finalize the 5-year strategic initiatives, present the strategic initiatives to the executive committee. This executive committee selects the strategy initiatives, and they work all in conjunction throughout this process, ultimately beginning the implementation about 6 to 7 months out. And this, in essence, is what we do in terms of recommending what the first year might look like if the coordination board was put together by the City Commission. So with all of that and this overview that we presented, and we have the comprehensive plan books in front of each of you, the community now has access to the comprehensive plan. I want to end our presentation with Dr. Julieta Garcia. Now, she could not be here today. There was just no way that we could work her schedule out to be here. About 10 days ago, we all got together to put this presentation together, and she came and spoke to us, and we luckily videotaped it. And I thought it was a great way to end our presentation by having her speak on behalf of the task force and behalf of every individual that's been involved in this. I think she has a very interesting a set of remarks that I'd love for you all to hear. If we could roll the tape, please. I would appreciate it.
Well, I'll begin by repeating the thanks to everybody that has been part of this. Many of us elders in the community. I never thought I'd publicly call myself that, but there it is. Understand what it means to be patient and wait, and sometimes to worry and give up hope. What this has renewed for all of us, I think, being all of you, is that there's always a future, and there are always the next line in that battle to move forward and take their place. And so, welcome to this work, and I thank you all for participating. Sometimes the problems in a community or in a job or in a place can feel so overwhelming that we walk off and don't deal with it. That happens to me when I see all the plastic bags in our community across from H-E-B's. And I want to stop the car and get out myself and start to pick them up, but I don't. I drive on. And that's a very bad kind of reaction to have. And the reason people have that often is because you're overwhelmed by the amount of time it would take for one person to do something. But if you took a group of people with you to the same small problem or large problem, however you see it, and all of you dispersed equally among the bags, you could all pick them up fairly easily. And so the one thing that I've learned in my years at the university that's for sure a case for us has been that the larger the task, the more people are needed to make it all work. All of us can do the small things by ourselves, but none of us can do that's really worth it, the big tasks by ourselves. Eddie Campirano said that one of the things that he noticed in all of this is that no one entity is bigger than the whole. And that's humbling. Somebody else used the word humbled by this experience. I think it was our new Commissioner Gallen, how she had been skeptical about whether or not this would work at the beginning, and how at the end she was humbled by the fact that so many people are willing to be part of this important work. Sometimes the toughest times in a community are those times that draw us together. This is a tough time. It's not the time for dreaming panaceas and wondering about visions, perhaps, or is it exactly the right time? Our university, our port, our utility company, so many of the things, the channel, the airport, those were all built during very rough times. The university is an example. Everyone told us not to even try to build a university. The price of oil had plummeted in Austin. Sound familiar? But in the reverse. The peso had devalued in Mexico. And we had a freeze in our community that decimated the agricultural industry. It was the exact right time to start a university. We had no other choice except then to watch the bags accumulate against the wired fence. A lady, when we were working on our university, came to give us some money for an endowment. We'll celebrate the 20 years of holding that endowment for students, and it's more than 10,000 students that have received benefit from it. She walked all the way from our Fenton Street to the university on a hot summer day with one baby in her arms and the other baby in a carriage. And she came to give us her contribution because we had put the word out that if we didn't raise that $1 million in 18 months, $1 million in 18 months in the 80s in Brownsville, Texas, we would not get the $2 million match from the federal government. And it was the last days. And when people think you're going to fail, they all show up. So we had lots of people in our office waiting for that moment deadline to occur. We also had the media, because they especially like to show up when it's tough and it's when failure is imminent. The lady had walked all the way from our Fenton Street, which is about 10 blocks from the university. Hot day, with a baby in her arms and a baby in a carriage. When she saw all the people in the office, she was a bit apprehensive and didn't want to come in. Turned around and started to leave the university. Somebody, or the college told me that she was there for me to go out and say hello to her, see what she wanted. So I did. And so what she said was that she had in her pocket, you know when you've had a bill, a dollar bill or something in your pocket, you just kind of stuff it in there and it gets kind of crumpled up. She was taking out this dollar bill and she was trying to iron it before she gave it to me. And as we talked, she kept ironing, holding her baby, ironing this bill. I had taken money from anybody during those times. I had lost all humbleness or reticence. But that was the first time I had met somebody that needed that $5 bill much more than I did. And I asked her in Spanish, why are you giving me this $5 bill? And she said, it is the only hope I have for my children. I took the $5 bill. We made the $1 million. And And the summer we'll celebrate the 10,000 students who will benefit from that. I never imagined to still be here 20 years later, thinking about the lady who gave me the $5 bill, who refused to give up hope then for her children. There's a lot of people counting on us not to give up hope, to pick up the bags, or to plan a little bit harder, or to be a little bit more creative, whether it's about infrastructure, economic issues, or how to use each other's potential to dream the bigger dream. I don't think any of us would be here if we had given up hope. She didn't. We haven't. And so I think the conclusion for me is hope abounds in our great community. And I am privileged to be a small part of a very, very smart community. Thank you very much.
Before we go into executive session, I think this basically concludes the presentation, the workshop. But I do want to mention, Mayor, that the citizen participation in this plan was astounding. I know there's a resolution for action tonight. That's very little that what we can do to thank the members of this community that participated and want to participate. But what I want to do, and I will assure you that I will submit this plan to the APA for an award. Hopefully we will get an award. And that will, if we do get an award, we will have to go to New Orleans and accept that award. And I think this community deserves that award because it's 2 years in the making. A lot of hours have been spent by the people behind me and people in the community, and they need to be recognized. And this community needs to shine at the APA conference with this very, very well done plan. But most importantly, as I mentioned to the other commissioners the other night, and you weren't there, Mayor, but this is not, the federal government is looking for this collaboration. And in the last issue of the Planning magazine that I read, there's a partnership between DOT, Secretary LaHood of the Transportation Commission, and HUD, Mr. Donovan. He was asking money before Congress for a sustainable communities initiative. And he was before Congress asking for money. And let me read to you a little bit about what he was saying. And basically, the author of this article quotes him as he mentioned to Congress, and he was talking about this initiative, and he was saying the goal is not just to develop plans. And I think that's what we have done in this community. And let me read to you what he said. The goal is not just to develop plans. HUD Secretary Sean Donovan told the House lawmakers in March, it's to set a vision for growth that is tailored to distinct metropolitan markets, and then apply housing, transportation, and other investments in an integrated manner that support a broader vision. And I think this plan gets us there. I think it's a vision that has been portrayed by many citizens of this community. And so I implore you that when the action item comes before you, that unanimously you approve this plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
City Secretary, I don't have my agenda here. What's next?
The executive session? Executive session.
You have a motion for executive session?
So moved.
May I read the item? May I read the item, please? Executive session, item A, consultation with legal counsel pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, number 1A, regarding pending or anticipated litigation.
May I move that we go to executive session? Executive session.
Commissioner Camarillo, second by Commissioner Troyani. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll be back as soon as we can. Thank you. Please rise, face the flag. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
And before we pray, I want to mention that the city of Brownsville has been invited by a lot of the churches in town to Gonzales Park on Saturday for music, dramas, short messages, games for the kids. They'll be giving away free hot dogs, drinks, and even some bicycles and other prizes. At Gonzales Park from 11 to 5 o'clock, and the city's invited. So,
Thank you.
let us pray. Father God, we thank you that you are not only the God of heaven, but you're the God of Brownsville, and that you haven't forgotten us here. Lord, we thank you that you're concerned with what we're concerned about. And Lord, we ask that your will be done here in this meeting today. Help each of us to remember to respect each other, even when we disagree. Help us to be able to debate the issues in a way that will bless each other and give each other the information we need. Lord, let the outcome of this meeting be something that blesses you and blesses the people of Brownsville. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you, President. Please be seated. We have an action item from executive session. Can I have a motion?
Action on items discussed in executive session. Item A, consideration and possible action regarding recommendations of legal counsel regarding litigation as set forth in executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071.
Make the motion for city attorney to proceed.
Second.
We have a motion second to proceed as agreed to in executive session.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye. Can we have some discussion?
Already called for a vote.
Well,
all opposed?
My question, I'm in favor of. My question is, can we open up just to make a comment on this
I move
matter?
to open.
Second.
I didn't even.
Well, I was asking Mayor. May I, Mayor?
It's amazing. You're supposed to be recognized in order to. You're supposed to.
Well, that's why I looked at you and asked you, may I make a point?
You have a motion to open it up. You have a second.
Second.
All in favor to reopen it up?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Triani.
Thank you, Mayor. We've all decided that we wanted to go forward with litigation against the individual because of the sports park issue on the 4th of July. What I'd like to see is, if we can at the next meeting, have a draft of a policy that would be implemented for future use regarding contracts and the routing of contracts and the review of contracts by the legal department, so that we don't have this problem in the future and that we can avoid these types of issues. So I don't know if we need to take a vote on that, or if I can simply ask the city attorney if he'd be willing to provide some sort of draft.
Before you speak, we discussed this in the executive session, and it was agreed to that you all will implement internal procedures that would safeguard the city and the taxpayers' best interests. Was that not done in executive session?
Well, I think it would be appropriate. I think we've discussed providing an internal policy to the city commission at some later time.
That's what was agreed in executive session. So I mean, that should stay in executive session. We shouldn't be discussing this out here.
Can I comment, please?
I think I still have the floor,
No,
and
Commissioner Melissa, please.
I want to agree with Commissioner Troiani. I think the community would like to know how we are addressing this, and that's why it's important that we allow him to provide guidance and the direction to develop such a policy.
Okay, Commissioner Camarini, you want to say something?
No, I agree. I think
further?
it's very important that we proceed with the course of action, and it wouldn't hurt to share that in front of the public.
Okay, so if we're going to be grandstanding, I support.
No, I'm not going to grandstand, Mayor. You asked me, and I'm asking the question.
To implement an internal procedure for city management to follow and make sure everybody else follows to protect the interests of the taxpayers and the city commission from having this occur again. Okay, so do you have any more discussion?
I'd like to make a comment directed to you.
You're not recognized. Can we have a motion now to close this?
I'm asking for the floor.
Can we have a motion to close this now?
I move to allow Rick to talk.
You're not recognized.
Doesn't matter.
This is an executive session. It was taking care of the executive session. I don't know why.
I'm not going to discuss executive session.
You allowed everybody to talk, Mayor. You allowed everybody to talk.
There's no point in getting in the executive session discussing these sensitive matters and then bringing them out here.
My comment has nothing to do with the executive session.
to the public. Go ahead.
My comment is directed to you. I was in agreement with you that the statement provided by Commissioner Triani was already discussed in executive, but yet at the same time you're ruining it by saying that people are grandstanding. My comment to you as a chair is that you refrain from those types of things because you have people that are agreeing with you, Mayor, but by making those kinds of accusations and comments, you're refraining from people wanting to vote with you or to continue with you. I'm directing that to the chair. That's it.
Okay, my problem is that we're following procedures. We called for a vote, and that was the end of it. We had an executive session discussion. That should have stayed in the executive session. It comes out in public, what we all agreed to. To me, that's grandstanding. Why can't we just follow the policy and adhere to what was done in the executive session as it should be? Now, you're supposed to be recognized before you're allowed to speak. Once the chair asks for a vote, then you're allowed to make the motion and the second. But you must be recognized to be able to speak. We're not following the Robert's Rules of Order that you all adopted. So if you're not going to follow it, then it's a free-for-all as it is in the scene right now. Because you need to be recognized to be allowed to speak. And it's got to be germane to the issue in order to conduct the meeting. Okay, now I want to call for a motion. Can I have a motion?
Make the motion to proceed, to allow the city attorney to proceed with legal action.
Can we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Commissioners' reports. Commissioner Camarillo.
On the agenda, Commission, I've asked to include a one city proclamation and also a resolution to be passed. Basically, just a brief history of what One City is. I was approached by Paulina Sosa, who's here in attendance and will help receive the proclamation. One City is a nonprofit organization which was established back in 2002. Its sole effort is to stop poverty throughout the country. It's a grassroots campaign that organizes within the country, and its focus is to rid Africa and other nations of poverty and disease. And so they go to other communities across the country in the U.S. and other parts of the world to educate residents and communities of the importance to help entities that reduce poverty. And different communities do different campaigns to help with that initiative. And so onecity.org establishes networking opportunities for communities to do campaigns that move cities towards reducing poverty in their own community and outside of the country and within the United States. One of the founding fathers of One City is Bono from U2, and as we all know, he's an individual who's a major human rights activist across the country, and so it's individuals like himself who lead others to promote the continuation of poverty and get others to follow with that. I thought it was very important that the city of Brownsville do it. One, because we'd be the only community in the state of Texas, the first community in the state of Texas to actually become a one city. And we've done that in many different ways. We've done that this past year with the living wage for contracted employees, which again establishes that living wage for those that do business with the city. We also did that with our own city employees, that no city employee would make less than $8.50 an hour, which is very important. And then we do that when we also, another initiative that we undertake that makes it important is when we donate equipment to our sister city, Matamoros, and neighboring cities that obviously could use our equipment that we no longer have use for. So those are just a few things that the city has done, and I thought it was important, and I appreciate Paulina meeting with me to share this information, because I thought it was very important that we constantly are cognizant of the issues that we face in our own community, but what happens outside of ours. So with that, that's just a brief background on One City and what that's and what it entails. Next, at our last city commission meeting, we had I had an individual from my district talk about some graffiti sites that we had in District 4, and I just wanted to follow up that those have been taken care of. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did a cleanup. We cleaned up about 15 sites around town, and the sites he brought up at the last meeting, those have already been taken care of. Which leads me to the next issue, was my contact information. my city cell has recently changed, and so in case he and others might not be able to contact me for whatever reason, I wanted to make sure my number is out in the open for District 4 residents and anyone who wishes to contact me. My new number is 956-534-7204. That is my personal number, and so it's now being used as my for any business, all business, and I want to make sure that he and others that may need to contact me now have the means, or now have the new number for that. So with that, that concludes my Commissioner's report.
Thank you, Commissioner Camarillo. We have a proclamation, one city.
Yes, sir. I'd ask Paulina and City Manager if you want to come up for the proclamation.
City Secretary, would you please read the proclamation?
I'll read the proclamation, Mayor.
Okay.
So I can have a copy?
Commissioner Camarillo. Commissioner, would you like to present it down there, or you want to read it from up here?
Yeah, no, I guess we could do it down there. A proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, recognizing Brownsville, Texas as one city. Whereas healthy people and the healthy communities are the centerpiece of any strong and vibrant society, and whereas the City of Brownsville looks forward to mobilizing its community to become a one city and officially join the One campaign. And whereas Americans from Brownsville, Texas are among the most compassionate people in the world, and whereas nearly 1 billion people live on less than $1 a day, and an estimated 25,000 children die each day in the poorest countries of the world, and whereas one is an effort to rally people one by one to fight the extreme poverty and preventable disease around the world, and whereas increasing our efforts will save millions of lives and improve the way America is seen throughout the world, and whereas directing additional resources to basic needs, education, health, clean water, food, care for orphans, would transform the futures and hopes of an entire generation in the poorest countries. And whereas one is an unprecedented, nonpartisan grassroots advocacy organization and part of a fast-growing global movement to end extreme poverty. Now, therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, do hereby proclaim our city to be a one city and encourage everyone to recognize the devastating impact that extreme poverty and preventable disease has globally, and to take action in our local community to bring about the change around the world. Done on this, the 21st day of July, 2009, signed by the Mayor, Pat Humala, and the rest of the City Commission. Thank you. And Mayor, I'd ask that Paulina say a few words, since she brought this to my attention, just again to highlight a couple of points.
Hi, good evening, everybody. City Commission, Mayor, the City of Brownsville. When I came to Commissioner Camarillo with this issue, it's been a very passionate issue that's been in my heart for the past several years. And when I became a part of the One campaign, I realized, when you see one-on-one how extreme poverty really is, not only in your community, but in the rest of the world, especially Mexico, which is, our sister country, it really moves you to do something about it. And that's why I feel Brownsville, we have so much potential to do something for our community and for Matamoros in Mexico, and I feel that we should take a hold of all the resources possible to do that. And the One campaign definitely allows us to do that, and I once again want to thank you all for taking this on, because it's not only me, but it's the City of Brownsville that's taking on this honor to be considered part of the One campaign. So together, I look forward to what we're going to do to fight this war against poverty, and I look forward to winning this fight against poverty. So thank you all, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Item number 4.
Item number 4, consent agenda items A through E.
So moved approved.
Second.
Let me call for the motion before you make the motion. Call for the motion.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Motion. Call for a second. The motion is made by Commissioner Longoria. Do I have a second?
It was seconded twice.
Commissioner Triani, as educated as you are, I would think you would know how to follow Robert's Rules of Order. The chair must call for the motion.
I think after
And
you
will
called
be
for the motion,
recognized.
I
You
think
will be
after you called for the
recognized.
motion,
You wait till the chair
Mr.
calls for the
Longoria
motion.
made the motion, and I seconded it a second time.
I'm asking for the second.
And I said
Commissioner.
second for the third or fourth time now.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
You'll learn how to follow the rules.
I'm
Okay,
sure I will.
Any further discussion on any of the items? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 5. Mayor.
Item 5, announcement of mayoral appointment to the Brownsville Housing Authority Board.
Okay, I appointed Pat Lehman to the Brownsville Housing Authority. He's replacing Andy Muniz. This is for the commission to be aware. I don't have to bring these things before the commission, but I want to make sure everybody knows what's going on with the Brownsville Housing Authority and the Texas Workforce Commission, and that's why I bring these announcements here. Okay, before we take the public hearings.
May I have the floor?
No, the chair does not recognize you at this moment in time. I
May I be recognized?
have a request for item 20 by PUB to be moved up based on the fact that they have a time constraint to make copies and get everything prepared to submit it by the deadline tomorrow. Can I have a motion to move up item number 20?
Mayor, I'd second the motion if you include item 13 and 14 as well.
13 and 14?
Yes.
Okay, we'll take them in the order of 13, 14, 20.
But Mayor, I'd first ask that you allow Commissioner Troiani to have the floor.
I have a motion, I'll call for a motion. We have item 13, 14, and 20. Can I have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Gowan, Dr. Gowan, Commissioner Gowan, second by Dr. Gowan here. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We'll take them in the order that the motion was made. Item 13, please. City Secretary.
Item 13, consideration and action to adopt the final draft of the Imagine Brownsville Land Use Plan and Comprehensive Plan for the City of Brownsville.
Mayor, Honorable Commission, you heard the presentation by the task force and the tri-chairs. I ask for your support.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, well, I haven't even called for the motion. You know, you all need to learn to wait for me to call for the motion. That's the way the rules ask for us to do. And all I'm asking you is to simply follow the rules. Allow the chair to conduct the meeting. This cannot be a free-for-all where everybody talks at the same time, everybody makes the same motion. We need to have an orderly process. That way the city secretary can record who's making the motion, who's seconding the motion, and there's some kind of order. There's no chaos. So if you wait for me to call for the motion, as Robert Rules calls for, we'll have an orderly meeting. Okay, so item 13, can I have a motion at this time?
I make a motion for a second time.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Longoria. Can we have a second?
Second, Mayor.
We have a second by Commissioner Camarillo. Can we have any discussion on this matter? Commissioner Atkinson wants to be recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank everybody. I know I got here late. I apologize for that. But, you know, a lot of us were part of the process throughout the whole 2 years. You know, I know there was a workshop today, but a lot of us not just automatically got a book and we had to read it within 4 days. I understand the new commissioners might have had to done that, but I saw some of them at the Imagine Brownsville meetings. We lived it. A lot of us went to these meetings and showed up and supported what Imagine Brownsville was doing. And, you know, just for the record, you know, I'm proud, and I thank every commissioner here that got involved. You know, it was hard to to rally a lot of people together, but we did it. And, you know, above all, the amount of people that just showed up, the many volunteers that took their time, and a lot of them make a lot of money. They're one of the influential people in Brownsville, and they still took the time to spend 3 or 4 hours at these workshops and at these seminars. And my heart goes out to them because, you know, they want to see Brownsville go somewhere else, to another higher level. And no matter what, just because the past mayor brought this up, and, you know, I know, Mayor, you didn't just support this. I never saw you at one meeting. Even though your constituents demanded that you show up, you didn't show up.
Do not
and that's
attack
fine.
the chair.
I'm not attacking, I'm talking.
Stick to the issue,
so
please.
I would rather you abstain from this and not vote on this because you were not a part of this. I want to thank everybody here that was a part of it, everybody that fought hard to show up to these meetings. The 3 main chair, you know who you are. I thank you for that, and I make a motion with my fellow colleagues to vote.
I haven't called for a motion yet. Somebody else want to say something?
May I have the floor?
Commissioner Triani has the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to likewise thank everybody who participated. It has been a very educational process. We have learned a lot about our community. I think it was shocking to come on to the commission and find out we did not have a plan in place. A city of this size without a structure, a direction, was amazing to me. It's something that has been long needed. The amount of community involvement has been incredible. I think everybody within the community that participated did so wholeheartedly and with a vision of what we wanted for a future. And I think that is still with us. We talked about the one city today. That is necessary. We have to toss aside some of our personal problems. Obviously, we do have conflicts, as unfortunately has been exhibited here today. But at the end of the day, we all want a better community. We all want a place where our children can be proud to call home, and they can return to with economic development, with green areas, with walkable cities, with healthy attitudes about our community. And that is so necessary for the future, because with the poverty rate that we have, with the situation that we have now, if we don't work together, if we don't take a hold of this plan and move forward, we're going to be in a very, very bad situation. I've gotten several emails today about this program and some concerns about the program and the cost of the program. The program has been paid for and allocated. Now it becomes a matter of implementation. And implementation is our responsibility as a community and as elected officials. And we have to set forth these plans, and we have to say, this is our land use pattern, and this is what we want to see happen in our downtown, in our different areas. And we can't succumb to politicking to allow major deviations from this plan. So it's something that we have to hold ourselves accountable to as well. And when you have this type of tool, it's very easy to go back and say, well, this is the plan, and this is how we're trying to move forward. Obviously, plans are made to be modified, and there will be modifications in the plan. But at the same time, this gives us a direction and a goal, and it's something that we badly need at this time when we have such tough economic times, so that we can come out ahead of this and come out where we all want to be in 10, 15, 20 years. And again, thank you all for all of your participation and all of your time. It has been a joy to work with you all and to learn, because this is what this has been, is an incredible learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Triani. Commissioner Camarillo wants to be recognized.
I just want to acknowledge and thank every individual who participated in Imagine Bronzo. Most specifically our city staff and city manager and all the directors and staff who really worked very hard to provide information and data to the folks with Imagine Bronzo. More so the residents of the community that came out, as has been mentioned. You know, I remember the first time we met back at the ITEC, which was probably the first public workshop, and I remember seeing hundreds of individuals attend, and I had no idea the amount of people that would actually come and attend on a weekday evening to come voice their concerns and talk about the issues that we all come to know and want people to talk about. That was very refreshing, and it was very educating. And the people that were, the individuals that comprised Imagine Brownsville were experts. I can honestly and truly say that they were individuals that they knew exactly what they were talking about, and they were able to take what the public and what the commission felt is important and put it in a way that will move this city the way we want it to be. And so I thank them, and I thank for their expertise and their knowledge and their passion about producing a plan for this community. This afternoon, I was reminded how important Imagine Brownsville is when we talk about a future, a business prospect that wants to come to Brownsville, and the type of business, or I should say, future business and research base that this company would do for our community. It's exactly what we need and what we want, because we want to bring people that are thinking, collecting data. Yes, we want to create the jobs and the higher pay. As Jason was reminded, that's you ask and you get, and that's what the community wants. We want to lead this. We want to raise the graduation rate for high school graduates and college graduates, for individuals that have degrees and so forth. The only way to do that is to work together. And so I really, really am appreciative of all the entities that work together with the city of Brownsville. It doesn't stop here. As I said before, this is something that needs to continuously work together. And at the end of the day, I think this was the most important thing the city could do, because you need to have a plan. And I will devote as much time and effort as I can to ensure that we proceed forward with this, and that we constantly go back and look at the input of the public, because they can't stop. I'm a strong believer of people came and they spoke, but now we need your help. We really need your help to make all this work. And we need all the folks that were involved from the very beginning to help us continue through this process. So again, thank you all very much, and I am proud to be a part of this.
Commissioner Governor?
I want to thank everyone, just as everyone else has, for all of your hard work. I am sorry that I wasn't able to be part of the process that seems to have been very, very exciting and very humbling. I am very excited, though, to be a part of the implementation and the adoption of this plan. If we have any hope of attracting the best and brightest of our city and other cities, then we have to think forwardly, and we have to do long-range planning and create the city and the community that all of us want to be in and all of them want to be in.
Anybody else want to say anything? Commissioner Longoria?
Like with any business or with any program that's about to take off, you need a plan. And like I told everybody that was present at our last meeting, this is 2 years in the work. This is 2 years of dedication, sacrifice, being away from families, coming together, and in reiterating about a recent trip to Washington, you show up with a model such as Imagine Brownsville. And I believe that our next trip won't be a city trip, a university trip, a Port of Brownsville trip, a PUB trip. It'll be a city of Brownsville as a whole trip, with Imagine Brownsville in our hands, ready to give to our senators, to our congressmen, and tell them this is what Brownsville's about. This is what we're looking at in our future. This is what we need. So here are the needs of our community. And this is what we need. And I believe that, I'm a firm believer, that Imagine Brownsville will accomplish that for our community, whether we're here in the council, whether it's new members on the council. We have a model to work with, and for future commissioners that come in, this is the model, this is the basis to tell them. So, like when I was approached, when I first ran for office, this is the model that the chamber had back at that time. The model that they had, which was Brownsville 2020, I was presented with that and told that these were the needs of the community. This was to give you an eye-opener as to what the needs of this community are. So I believe that Imagine Brownsville will be doing that for the next 10 to 15 years, and I believe that together, through our committees, we'll be able to re-identify areas that need implementation, re-identify areas that need strengths, weaknesses, and where we need to work on. And once again, like everybody else on this commission, I'm in full support of this model, and I believe that if you give it a chance, you'll see that it will work. So thank you.
Okay. you want to say something,
Yes.
Commissioner?
I'm happy to see that we are addressing our problems here in Brownsville. The best avenue to address them is through this synergistic approach that I've seen today. I look forward to seeing the implementation of this plan. I know it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. But with the meeting of the minds, as Dr. Gowen mentioned, I think that we can begin to address some of the many concerns the people of this community have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And thank you all, Commissioners. And thank you, everybody who's participated in this formulation of this plan. Your civic participation is always welcome and appreciated. I think I have earned a right to speak what I feel in my heart, based on what I know and what I have read of the plan and what I've learned. I'm not known to pander to people. I speak my mind because I believe that's important. Although the plan, is based on what I was reviewing, is very similar to what the city plan is. The land use assumption plan is basically the land use plan that you have here. The airport, the drainage, you got Hidalgo, Willacy, and Cameron County coming together to form one district. A lot of what is in there is, I think, is the accumulation of all the plans. To say that the city does not have a plan is wrong, because the city does have a plan. I sit on the MPO, that's the transportation routes that we continuously plan and update. I think that's very vital to growth for a city, so we're on top of that monthly. I think water is also very essential to growth of a city, housing, all those things that are in that plan there, I'm very engaged in, and I have seen myself firsthand that there is some planning. Based on principle, though, I cannot support not the plan, but how it came about. You see everybody climbing on board to come up with this by accumulating all the plans of the university, the port, the city, PUB, and putting it all together, which is all good. What I disagree on is that nobody pitched in to pay for it. The university didn't, PUB didn't, the port didn't, none of the other entities, only the city of Brownsville, at a tune of $850,000. And I think that was wrong. Taxpayers' money that's being used on something that we already were doing anyway. So based on the principle, and with all due respect, and I congratulate you all for working together. I congratulate you all for donating your time, and I respect you all for that. But I cannot, based on principle, support a plan that I feel that is duplicative, that what we already have, and does not share the cost with everybody that's supporting it. Because I think it's easy to spend taxpayers' money when you're not paying it out of your own pocket. And based on that, my position is that I think this plan could have been done with the university, or with the chamber, with volunteers, and come out with what we got here. Brownsville 2020, as it is, we can't even complete that. We have a lot of needs, issues, public safety, housing, streets, that we don't have the money for. And spending $850,000 on something that we can't afford, I find it just objectionable on my part to support, knowing that we could have done this in another way to where it would have cost the citizens of Brownsville $850,000. Based on that, again, I thank you all for your service. Now, can I have a motion? I hope you all understand that I vote based on my conscience, and based on principle, I will vote no. Can I have a motion, Chair?
That's already been
The
passed.
Chair calls for a motion.
It's already been passed.
Okay, who made the motion?
Commissioner Longoria, and I
Commissioner
second.
Longoria makes a motion. Chair calls for a second.
Second.
Commissioner Camarillo. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nay.
Thank you for being the leader, Mayor.
Well, respect, we should, one of the things I hope Imagine Brownsville deals with is to respect each other for the difference of opinion. I think I've earned a right to speak what I feel is in my heart.
How have you
They
earned
don't
it?
pay me enough just to go along to get along. They don't pay me enough for that.
How have you earned the right?
I believe the citizens gave me that right by getting elected here.
Yes, they did to all of us.
But wait a second, the same as you all, and I respect you all's opinion. Okay, so now we're out of order, okay? Let's get back in order. Let's go to item number 14.
Item 14, consideration and action on resolution number 2009-046 to express appreciation to all individuals and entities involved in the implementation, development, and finalization of the Imagine Brownsville Comprehensive Plan.
Mayor, I think this really is a small token of appreciation and thank you to all the citizens of Brownsville that participated and the ones that are going to come forward and participate. I think this resolution is a good place to be placed in the minute books forever.
And that I have no problem
Thank you, and thank you
supporting.
to the commission for all your work.
And that I have no problem supporting. I really appreciate y'all's volunteerism. Okay, what do you have?
Are you going to call for a vote?
Can we have a vote?
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Camarillo. Can I have a second? Commissioner
Troyani, second.
Triani. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 20.
Item 20, consideration and action on resolution number 2009-047 to request a financial grant assistance from Texas Water Development Board pursuant to the American Reinvestment Recovery Act.
Please come forward. And state your name.
PUB, Your Honor. We have...
Please state your name.
My name is Eduardo Roberto Rodriguez. I'm the attorney for PUB. And we're asking the commission to approve a resolution requesting a grant pursuant to the stimulus or American Recovery Act, which is a stimulus program. And we have the petition or the plans ready to take to Austin to deliver by 5 p.m. tomorrow. We're asking for $46 million. As you know, our program is listed number one on out of all of the programs that the Texas Water Commission is looking at, Texas Water Development Board is looking at, and so we're asking a resolution asking the state to give us that grant.
Okay, this is an action item. The chair calls for a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Longoria. The chair calls for a second.
Second.
Commissioner Triani makes a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's go back to item 15. City Secretary?
Six.
20.
You mean item 6?
We need to get back to item 6 to be in order.
Item 6, okay. Go back to item 6, please.
Item 6, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2009-023 to rezone from dwelling G to apartment G, 0.95 acres out of block 18 of El Jardín subdivision located near Boca Chica Boulevard.
And also, as the mayor, if item 7 is also related, if we can take care of them together. Can you read item 7?
For the audience at home, first
Item
state your
7 as
name.
well?
I'm sorry, my name is
For
Ben
the
Medina.
audience at home, just state your name.
Yes, my name is Ben Medina. I'm the planning director for the city.
Item 7, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2009-023-S to allow apartment-specific use apartments in a general retail and apartment G for 1.39 acres out of block 18 of El Jardín subdivision located near Boca Chica Boulevard and Highland Street.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, this is the property shaded in red. In this particular case, they would like to build some apartments. The Planning and Zoning Commission were unanimous to approve this application to you. There's also a specific use with this site that has a site plan and a facade of how the apartments would look, and it's also included in your packet. This is a public hearing.
This is the public hearing.
Move to close.
This is, I haven't called for close to public hearing. This is the public hearing. Anybody for or against from the audience? Okay.
Move to
Number 6.
6 and 7? 6 and 7?
6 and 7.
Anybody in favor or against? Okay, I will call for closing of the public hearing. Can I have a motion to close?
Move to close.
Motion to close by Commissioner Camarillo. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second to close by Dr. Gowan, Commissioner Gowan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. This is an action item.
Move to approve both items.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Camarillo. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Atkinson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, please.
Mayor, also with this case, 8, 9, and 10 are related, so we can all take care of
Okay,
them.
they're all related?
Yes.
Would you read all three, City Secretary?
Yes, sir.
8, 9, and 10.
Item 8, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2009-024 to rezone from dwellings Z to professional offices Z, 2.15 acres of proposed lot 1 and 2 of MJK number 2 subdivision located near FM 802 and South San Marcelo Boulevard. Item 9, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2009-024-SA to allow medium retail specific use in a professional office for 1.58 acres of proposed lot 1 of MJK number 2 subdivision located near FM 802 and South San Marcelo Boulevard. Item 10, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2009-024-SB to allow medium retail specific use in a professional office for 0.57 acres for proposed lot number 2 of MJK number 2 subdivision located near FM 802 and South San Marcelo Boulevard.
Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, this is the property shaded in red. Go back 1 minute. As you can see here, you have 802 on the north, Coffee Port goes right through the property. So basically, there's 3 owners in this case. One of them being the City of Brownsville, because you have the right-of-way of Coffee Port there being included in this case. If we can go to the site plan. In this particular case, it's the possible location for a CVS pharmacy. As you can see, Coffee Port goes into San Marcelo and then to 802, and CVS Pharmacy is right where Coffee Port will extend. So in this particular case, part of Coffee Port right-of-way is included in the zoning case. This is how it will look like. CVS Pharmacy to the north. The remainder of the property will be residential with gated community, a private road there on the bottom. I apologize, I don't have my pointer today, but that gray shaded road, that's a private road with 3 residences having Resaca frontage towards the Resaca there. But the north part is what we're rezoning tonight. You would have CVS Pharmacy, the anchor, another smaller store or lease space to the west of that. And there's some pictures, facades of how they would look like in your packet, but this is what the case is about. There's 3 property owners, city being included with that, with the extension of, with the elimination of Coffee Port being sold to this development.
Okay, this is a public hearing. All the neighbors were notified.
Of course, the normal process, it's a zoning
Nobody
case.
objected.
Everybody gets a notice within 200 feet. There was some interest from families on Coffee Port Road, but working with our city traffic department engineering, those concerns were satisfied by restriping Coffee Port, adding an additional lane, fixing the traffic lights, on 802 and San Marcelo, so the flow of traffic during peak hours can flow much better and alleviate the stacking on Coffee Port Road.
Okay. The motion will, the chair will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So move to close.
We have a motion to close. Chair calls for a second. It's still open for public hearing. We don't have a second yet.
No, sir. No, sir. This is I believe it was a Carl Jr.'s Hamburgers. That's what that place is. No, you're talking right in the corner of Coffee Port and San Marcelo. You have IBC Bank on the east side.
It was a Chevron gas station and a Popeye Chicken.
Oh, Popeye. Okay.
And that's where you went to put it for the pump insurance?
Yes. Yes. You see. You see the site plan? Mr. Reeds, you see the site plan? The site plan's been reviewed. You have CVS Pharmacy with the appropriate parking spaces, the appropriate egress in and out of the complex onto a section of San Marcelo that will be built to the south, and with the improvements to traffic flow onto 802 makes the site workable.
So they met all the requirements.
Yes.
As called for, and it is a commercial zone.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We have a motion to close. Can we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Gowan. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. This is an action item. Can I have a
Move to approve.
motion? Chair calls for a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Camarillo. Chair calls for a second.
Second.
We have a second for Commissioner Zamora. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
To approve? All opposed? Motion carries. Let's go to item 11, public comments.
Item 11, public comments.
Okay, we have the first one, Mr. Alex Resendez. Is he here? Yes. He's here.
Good afternoon, fellas. My name is Alex Resendez, Reverend Alex Resendez. I want to congratulate all the ones that had to do with at the public library, the city manager and Jeff Johnson and also the lady that gave the free hot dogs from the Brownsville Coffee Shop right there at the library. It was a very nice and very beautiful seminar that you all have there. Really, honest. Even though I thought that maybe there was not enough people that are in charge here in Brownsville to know what's going on. You had a lot of poor people there. They wanted the rifle, they wanted the toys, they wanted the flashlights, the things that they were getting. It was wonderful, you know. And that's why they applauded on the side of Mr. Pedro Mada when he said that I was a macho man, that I was going to stay behind, he wasn't going to send a fireman or something like that. Pues le estabas dando dulces y chicles y todo, ¿verdad? But the thing is this, it is a serious matter. I'm praying that we don't get a hurricane, but it is a very serious matter. And I know you guys like to vote que yo mando y que tú no, y que yo soy mejor, your egos and all that stuff, you know. I respect you, Mayor. I respect all your commissioners y todo, pero I mean, you guys are losing a lot of time discussing, and you know the Robert rules of order. I want to thank the commission. I want to thank you all for the good job that you all been doing. In fact, I think the mayor has been doing a very good job. We have somebody running for a county judge, and I haven't seen much that he's done. You know, the mayor's been doing better than the county judge, and you guys too. So I want to congratulate you all, ¿verdad? Quiero darles las gracias por todo eso que han hecho, pero we are going to need sandbags when the time comes. We're all gonna need for you all to get together instead of fighting each other. I'm greater than you. I'm gonna be the next mayor. Yes, to el otro. Let's please stick together. We do have a catastrophe. I hope it doesn't come. I hope it doesn't hit Brownsville. It might hit somewhere else. That's my opinion. I just wanted to congratulate you all. I think that you all can and are intelligent enough to act like citizens, you know. Don't lose too much time. Hey, I didn't give you a chance to speak. Well, don't speak, man. You know better than that. He's gotta give you the chance to speak. You know, if he don't give you the chance to speak, you can speak. If they don't give me the chance to speak, I can't speak. That's the way it is. So may God bless you all, and that's my feelings. Let's get ready for, if we do have a hurricane or a catastrophe, man, we're going to need you guys. And imagining Brownsville, I mean, I'm not for it, because I know that there's a lot of big money men taking monies, and they're not showing the people what they're really doing. And we're talking about millions of dollars, okay? So if you're going to do Imagine Brownsville, tell me or tell the public of Brownsville, Texas, how long is it going to take to create all those jobs that you all are saying that's going to be created? Because I haven't seen no action.
Thank you, Mr. Resendez. Mr. Reese? Then it'll be Roman Perez, and then Susan Goldberg, in that order.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to congratulate the new commissioner that abstained from voting in the selection of the tax delinquent collector for the city. I think that you used a lot of good judgment because you were not familiar with the terms. Your integrity, I will not question, but I will inform you that under the Robert Rules of Order, when you say nay, you're giving a vote to the yes when you abstain. When you abstain, you automatically give the vote to the yes. I have consulted, and I just wanted to let you know, but the rest was fine, and I thank you for taking that stand. In reference to this $750 million project, you all just approved the comprehensive plan. It's something funny, sir, because this is not funny to me. The city of the business, sir, is my business. And you know, you're talking $750 million, and the PUB wants $255, and we have already a $1.5 billion debt.
Direct yourself to
He's not there.
To Atkinson.
What?
Can you please keep from talking to anybody, please?
Well, sir, I demand respect.
You
okay?
get respect.
I demand respect.
You gotta earn
I'm
it,
not
though.
his clown.
Just finish your 3 minutes.
Let's stop it right there. Let me get my 5 minutes, okay? I'm contesting that, you know, the people of Brownsville, you have not had the courtesy of showing this plan to. I did not know anything about this plan. And I think that you owe us because you work for us. Don't you understand that? That we're supposed to be familiar with what's going on in this community. We did not surrender our rights, I have told you time and time again. We have constitutional rights and you're not respecting it. Then I consider this government completely out of line. It's not a constitutional government. If you're going to control the executive, the legislative, and the judicial, you are a tyranny then. And I'm not going to let you do that, not in this country. We have to review the laws of the Constitution here because you all seem to be in control and think you owe this town and you don't. We owe this town, the people of Brownsville, and you are responsible and you have to answer to us. Are you aware of that? We need to know about this plan. I haven't seen anything. All I saw is a bunch of pictures there, but I know since 2005, when Mr. Galonsky was here with his attorney and Mr. Medina was here supporting Mr. Galonsky, and then I heard it at the Navigation District also, that he's trying to sell this program over here on, thank you, sir, over there at the ITech. Well, you know, this raises big questions for me. There's a lot of money that's going to be spent, $750 million. Now, are we going to propose that on a referendum if the people of Brownsville want to vote for us to spend that money? You want to go to Washington to lobby for this program? Don't we have a lobbyist over there we're paying how much a month? Fíjate. And then what is he doing over there? You know, the people here are very short of money. You know, we are not doing what's right, and this is why I'm here today. The properties have decreased. You continue to charge us the same taxes. That's a crime in itself. People are without work. The people that have lost their homes, they also have lost the equity they had in their homes. Now, we need to audit the appraisal district. That's what we have to do, to find out and to make sure that everybody's paying their fair share.
3 minutes.
Your time is up. Thank you, Mr. Reese.
Mr. Atkinson, thank you, sir.
Mr. Perez.
I appreciate it.
Please don't count this against my time, but Mayor, I think Sue Goldberg was speaking on another item. She had signed up for another item out for public comment, just to let you know. Because you said Sue Goldberg was going to be speaking in public comment. She doesn't want to.
No, right now you're entitled to 3 minutes to speak on what you're talking about.
I know, I'm just saying, you know, just as help, so she doesn't have to come up here.
Just go ahead and take care of your stuff.
I came up here originally to talk to about something important, and I will talk about it, but and I won't say what happened earlier, but 3 of you all, you know who you are. I commend you all for being able to control yourselves after what happened earlier today. You really, you know, impressed me that you all are able to conduct a meeting professionally, and it shows that you all really care, and I thank you all for doing that, considering what happened earlier. I wanted to come up here and talk to you about Article 5, Section 20 and Article 5, Section 21 of the City Charter. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because there is, the mayor a few weeks ago wanted to place an item on the agenda. We won't rehash what happened on the agenda, but the city manager had said in the paper that he has sole authority over professional matters, over professional things that happen at the city, and he's absolutely right, he does. But I want to remind him, the mayor and the city commission, that Article 5, Section 20, Article 5, Section 21 give the authority or the ability for any of you all to freely and fully disclose or discuss anything that happens in the city, even if it includes personnel. I believe that you all should have that right. You all are elected officials. I know I respect Mr. Cavler wholeheartedly, but you all have that right to be able to do that. And I actually would recommend you all do that openly in a transparent fashion. And if you all would like to, you could use Article 5, Section 21, where it allows you all to have an investigation, subpoena people if you have to, and you know, if they don't show up, you can fine them $100. I believe you all should be able to do it in an open, transparent way for anything, whether you are upset over a missing check that's you know, somewhere in another part of the state, or another missing check, or anything. If you want to investigate, you all should be able to do it in an open and transparent way. And at the end, I would recommend, or I would ask you all to do a vote of no confidence, whether you have confidence or don't have any confidence whatsoever. I'm going to use this example. Last month, the Texas A&M system has a faculty senate, and they voted no confidence for their chancellor. They have no ability to fire the chancellor, just like you all don't have the ability to fire any personnel. You can only voice your concern and have it heard with Mr. Cavler. I believe you all should be able to do this vote of no confidence, whether or not it's legal. I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV, I guess. But I do believe you all should be able to do this and continue working together. But you all don't have any excuses, I don't think, anymore. If it is true, if I am right, that you all can do this vote of no confidence. Any constituent comes to you and says, hey, I'm concerned about this particular director, you all can do something about it. And I urge you all to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Ms. Susan Goldberg? You don't want to speak? Okay. And so that's it then. We'll go to item 12.
Item 12, consideration and action on resolution number 2009-045 to recognize Brownsville, Texas as a one city.
Move to approve.
Second. Wait a second. You going to read the resolution?
It's basically the proclamation, Mayor, which I read.
Oh, it's a proclamation then? Okay.
It's basically what the proclamation.
Okay. So we don't need to read the resolution then?
No.
Okay. The chair calls for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Camarillo. Chair calls for a second.
Second.
Commissioner Troyani makes a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We did 13 and 14. Go to 15.
Go to number 15, consideration and action to authorize the city manager to submit a grant application in the amount of $45,000 to the Border 2012 program to update the city of Brownsville's sister city agreement with the city of Matamoros, Tamaulipas, Mexico.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, I'm Jeff Johnson, the Assistant City Manager. The existing sister city agreement between the cities of Brownsville and Matamoros was ratified by this body back in 1997, was recently updated in 2002. It needs to be updated again. The request before you is requesting authorization for the city manager to submit a grant proposal to BECC, which is the Border Environment Cooperation Commission, part of Border 2012. It's a $45,000 grant request. There is a 10% local match, which can be in kind, and we'll use staff personnel time to meet that match. And staff recommends approval.
Okay, the chair calls for a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Gowan. Chair calls for a second.
Second.
We have 2 seconds. Commissioner Longoria is recognized. Any further discussion?
May I be recognized?
Commissioner Troyan is recognized.
Mr. Johnson, just so the people at home can understand, you indicated that it was an in-kind match. So basically you're saying that the man-hours for preparing the grant and implementing it can be used for that 10%, so no actual city monies have to be used, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Item 16.
Item 16, consideration and action to authorize the Public Works Department to submit a grant to EPA Border 2012 to request funds for a household hazardous waste workshop and collection event.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commissioner. Once again, this is a similar format as discussed by Mr. Johnson. We're hoping to get approval to submit a grant to Border 2012 EPA for household hazardous waste collection event. That will also entail some training for our staff to the tune of $75,000, which also includes advertisement and the cost of disposal. So, with your kind consideration, we can submit that grant and hope to better the lives of our citizens by providing this service and meeting the goal of the Border 2012 EPA program to reduce land contamination.
Okay, the chair calls for a motion.
So move.
We have a motion by Commissioner Triani. Chair calls for a second.
Second.
Commissioner Camarillo. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Item 17.
Item 17, consideration and action to acknowledge the Chief Financial Officer's financial statements and cash investment report for the City of Brownsville for third quarter ending June 30th, 2009.
Pete Gonzalez, Chief Financial Officer for the City of Brownsville. The Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, there's a book that was delivered to you. I'm not going to go to it, but I have a PowerPoint presentation that I could possibly go over it with you very briefly. There's certain areas, obviously, this report is through June 30th of the fiscal year. That's 9 months into the fiscal year. And there are some areas of concern related to various financial areas. We have discussed in the past of the decline in the bridge revenues. Right now we're at 32% below last year and 42% below budget. There's also a drop in our sales tax, 4.2% from the prior year and almost 7.4% from the budget. There's also a decrease in the municipal court fines by 19.4% from the previous year and 22.9% from the current budget. Also licenses and permits by 577,000. from the prior year, or 34.25%, and we also have decreases on our budget. There is a rise in medical insurance claims, but not as high as previous years because of the move by the city to use another PPO network. And there's also concern on TMRS rate increases that will run all the way through 2015. There are positive areas to be discussed in this report. We do show property tax collections above last year. We are right now collecting 91.81% of the current year property taxes. That compares to 91.21% for the same period as last year. Fees and services is also a positive. We're 5.6% above last year, and we're also showing a positive variance over the budget. Landfill collections, tipping fee collections at our landfill are also up. As I mentioned earlier, the city is now using United Healthcare as the PPO network, and this PPO offers higher discounts on our medical insurance claims and has reduced the increases. We have increases, but not to the level that we had seen in prior years. Overall expenditures in the general fund will not exceed the fiscal year 2009 budget, so that's also a positive. Throughout the years, our tax rolls have grown. As you can see by this chart here, they've slowed down the last 2 years, and we anticipate a slow growth in 2010 fiscal year, which will be the tax year 2009. We expect to get the certified tax rolls from the chief appraisal sometime this coming week. But all indications are that the property values for the coming year have not increased to what we had seen in the past. We're probably looking at maybe a 1.5% increase as compared to 5, 6, 7, 10% in the previous years. One of the areas that we look at very closely is the general fund. General fund of the entire city budget, 70% of our it consists of the general fund expenses and revenues. We always budget conservative. Obviously, we can, as you can be seen here from previous years. We have a first column shows the budget fund balance, and then the third column shows what the actual fund balance was at the end of each fiscal year. And as you can see, we always end the year with a better variance than what we have on our budget. For 2009, we see a $12 million ending fund balance. Now, you can see there's a decrease of 6.5, but because we are very closely monitoring the expenses for 2009, we don't see that much of a drop, even though that's what's shown in the budget. This is the general fund budget versus the fund balance, the actual, and as you can see, we surpassed the budgets every year as far as fund balances. When we compare revenues and expenditures for various years, as you can see, the revenue is marked as yellow, expenditures are marked as blue, and we have had 2 years, 2007 and 2008. Well, actually 2007 that expenses exceeded revenues. 2008 we had a positive side. 2009 we expect to have more expenses than revenues. What's going to keep us in a positive mode is that we did have a nice beginning surplus at the beginning of the fiscal year. This is what the general fund balance. 2009 we're looking at $12 million, but that number, once the year is over, that number is going to be higher. This is the balance sheet for the general fund, comparing 2008 and 2009 for the same period. And at the very bottom, you see the fund balance. Fund balance shows a decrease from the previous year, from 19.1 to 18.7. How are we doing through 9 months? We have had revenues of $63 million plus in revenues and $63.4 in expenses, so we are right now in a positive mode where we have revenues over exceeding expenditures. This is a summary of the main revenue accounts in the general fund, and if you look at the year-to-date transactions, we have recognized $63,566,000 in revenues versus last year of $65,388,000. So we are recognizing less revenues than we did last year. Right now, if you look at the percentage, we should be at least 75%. We're at 72%. So we are below the projected budget in revenues. On the positive side, you can see the on year-to-date transactions, or YTD column, we have in the general fund, we have spent $63 million plus in expenses compared to $63.8 last year. The good thing about this is that if you look at the percentage used column, we have spent 70%. We should be at 75%. So we are not spending we're spending less than what's budgeted. Unemployment rates, we have seen an increase. In 2008, we had a 6.9% unemployment rate through June. On the average for 9 months, actually for in this case it's 6 months because this is based on calendar year, we're at 9.6. But June came in at 10.6% of this year. This gives you an analysis of the labor force, the unemployment rates for various years, and it gives you the labor force, the unemployment and employment rate. And as you can see, the 2009 is not going to be as good as we've had in the past. One area that we look at very closely is the sales taxes. We have had some recessions in the past. We've had peso devaluations in the past. We had one in 82. As you can see, the drop in sales tax between 82 and 83 we had a 33% decline that year. It took several years for us to recover. If you look at that particular chart, it took us 7 years to recover. That was the 82 recession and 82 peso devaluation. We had another one in 94 that took us probably another 4 years to recover. So we've been through some of this in the past, and we've been able to pull through. What's happening this year, we see a decline in sales tax of 4.2 and a budget of 7.4%. If you look at the very bottom budget, through June, we're down $1,440,000. That's a monthly shortfall of $180,000. So we anticipate a shortfall in sales tax if the trend continues of about $2.2 million from our budget estimates. This gives you another area of sales tax from 2003 all the way to 2008, and you can see rise every increases all those years. We see obviously a decrease in 2009. Also, when we present the budget to you in the upcoming weeks, we'll probably be showing on our sales tax for 2010 below the $24 million. Notes on the economy. Obviously the city sales tax revenues began to decline at the start of November 2008. If you read the recession, if you read something about the recession nationwide, the recession started in November or the fall of 2007. We didn't get to see the recession, us here, until a year later in 2008. One area is the peso. Exchange rate against the U.S. dollar began its slide in September, but it started to improve in March of 2009. The Dow Jones Industrial Average hit a record high of unbelievable 14,165 in October, and all of a sudden it declined to 6,500 a year later, and that was 54.11. You all heard about the stock market decline. Since then the stock market has gained ground. We're still down 37.2. All of this obviously affect our economy. And this is the peso. The peso was very strong in August, and then in February it went up to 15, the exchange rate. So that was a huge decrease between the peso and the dollar, over 50%. Slowly, it's getting better, but I don't think we're going to see the 9.89 in the near future. During fiscal year 2008, sales tax accounted for 28% of the city's general fund. That's always a concern for us, because right now this general fund really looks at that sales tax for our budget, and it's 28.7% of all the revenues comes from the sales tax. History has shown that a Mexican economy helps the city. Strong Mexican economy helps strong sales tax revenues. I'm going to go a little quicker here because I've already discussed this. Mexico obviously is going through a bad year. Their GNP is decreasing right now at an annual rate of 21.5, as compared to 6.3 for the U.S. But the U.S. has dropped, hasn't seen a drop since World War II. The drop in Mexico's GNP is the worst performance since the '94 peso devaluation. Again, this is Mexico depends heavily on exports to the U.S. The exports have decreased as we, the Americans, consume less in the autos, electronics. Mexico ties to the U.S. are particularly strong because of the NAFTA, and Mexico's auto production on the first quarter fell at an average of 41%. Besides the economy, because of the peso, because of the H1N1 virus, the Gulf cartel, and then we also have the transmittals from the Mexican workers to their families in Mexico have declined because of the recession in the U.S. And at one time, the transmittals were number 2 behind the oil for Mexico's revenues. Going back to other funds, Convention and Tourism Fund, we show a fund balance at the end of June, rather, 323,000. There is a decline between revenues and expenses, and one of the reasons for this is that there are some agencies that request some of their hotel motel tax up front, and that's the reason why you see the revenues. But we also see a decline in hotel motel tax. The Community Development Fund, this is just in and out. Revenues and expenses are all federal monies. Non-bonded debt, we have a fund balance of $10,600, and this fund accounts for the list purchases that the city has, contracts. The Debt Service Fund, by the way, the Debt Service Fund is our number 2 fund in the city, and right now we show a fund balance of $7,146,000, but there's a payment coming down in August to pay some of our interest on our debt, and by the end of the year, this fund should have around $3 million once those expenses are made. The landfill tipping fee shows a fund balance of $808,000 plus. Airport, we see positive revenues over expenses, and this is association to the VF building sale that was done recently, and those proceeds are included in the revenues. The bridge fund, we've discussed earlier, shows a $1,000,005. This gives you an idea of the bridge fund. There's a decrease of 31.9% through June, or 42.37 from budget. This gives you also what the history we've had with the Veterans Bridge. We opened up in 2001, and by the way,
may I interject? I think the chair, Commissioner the Commissioner, I guess, wants to be recognized. Sure.
I'm sorry.
We had talked about Veterans Bridge. The city collects half of the revenues. Who makes up? Who collects the money, the county or the city?
The contract that we have, Commissioner, right now with the county is the county operates the bridge,
Okay.
And we share equally on profits or losses.
Okay, but who collects the county collects the money, Who prepares these things and who tells you we're at a loss? The county, right?
The county
So can
provides...
we audit them or not?
Yeah, they get audited once a year, and we get a report of their audit report. So
We get a report
everything,
of their audit report.
well, Long Chilton is the auditor for Cameron County. They audit Cameron County. They audit the bridge systems, and they've got the Veterans Bridge, Gateway Bridge, and Los Indios, and this is the revenues that we get when we get, and we divide the profits equally between the county and the city.
Commissioner Atkinson, the problem I see there is that the county has full control of the operations, the hiring, the firing of that bridge, and gives us a report. And they're honest. I mean, they're kept honest by the audits performed, but we really have no voice in the matter based on the agreement. Now, future agreements like the Florida Mile Bridge, maybe this could, if it happens during this commission's tenure, maybe we can change the agreement to where it gives us more of a participation role.
And I agree with you because that Florida Mile Bridge has kind of the same makeup of what B&M did, which was UP Rail is going to be involved, and they're going to end up taking the revenues from eventually pedestrians and the vehicular traffic. What we made a mistake with B&M is the city or the county doesn't even own B&M.
B&M is privately owned.
It's privately owned, and they're undercutting the other bridges, so they're generating the most revenues of all the bridges because they're a private owner, they're running it like a business. And at what point, do we not take precautions for the Florida Mile Bridge where UP comes up and says, you know what, we want the city to be involved in this, but at the end, we're going to control everything. How are we safeguarding if we're going to divert the rail over there or whatever, what's the city's commitment to it, and are we safeguarding the city's protection through, like we lost B&M. B&M was, I mean, they're killing veterans and Gateway because they run through a private business and they undercut the other bridges. That's why we're losing out.
Commissioner, I do talk to Mr. Galvan, Joe Galvan. He is the president of B&M Bridge. He runs that bridge, and he has no
loyalty. He has no loyalty to the city of Brownsville.
His traffic
he's contracted to make money for his company, and because he says something doesn't make it so. We need to look into how that bridge is and how the city, they use our streets. The people that leave that bridge, and we talked about maybe setting up tolls or something like when they leave B&M Bridge, because if this guy's going to keep undercutting, we're going to keep losing money.
Yeah, that's, I think, more like a legal issue.
I think that's out of the realm of what you're talking about.
Anyway.
But I think in the future, Brownsville should look at the joint venture with the county and how much it wants to participate as a partner, or do a bridge on its own.
Well, UP is going to direct that.
UP has nothing to do with that. That has to do with the city and the county right now. It has nothing to do with UP.
May I be recognized? I have a question.
Certainly, Commissioner.
Who assesses the fee? Is it the county or the city, or is it jointly? Who assesses the fee?
The county comes up with the fee. They have complete control of the operations and maintenance of the bridge. Now, that's the venture we agreed to. The future doesn't mean we have to build a bridge with them, because the bridge is in the city of Brownsville. What happens is the county has acquired land in the city of Brownsville so that we become a partner with them. We have to become a partner. But if we get another site and the city buys the land, we can build our own bridge to where it's 100% ours and we operate it ourselves. Like the Gateway was first offered to the city for $350,000, and the city turned it down and the county took it over, and they get 100% of that. Los Tomates, they only get 50% because that was our land, and we went into a joint venture with it.
But whether the county owns it or not, Gateway Bridge, people cross over and drive on our streets that we, the taxpayers, have to pay for.
Definitely.
So we should assess a tax. I talked to Charlie Cavler about that. We should tax. I mean, as a private company, B&M, they'll put up 5 cents or 10 cents, and that's all profits for a private company. And they're still undercutting veterans.
Because they don't have the expenses that we have. If you look at the Gateway Los Tomates, Los Indios, we all have security in all those bridges. B&M doesn't. See, so they have less expenses. So those are the advantages they have as being private owners. They're not forced to have those things that we require on our public bridges. Go on.
Looking back at the bridge revenues or the transfers to the city, we had 2006, we had 2.9 million. Then it went down to 2.7 in 2007, and 2008 it's just above 2 million. We anticipate, based on what's been received so far in 2009, that we'll end the year with around 1.6 million, which is a huge drop from 2006 numbers. And again, that's the traffic the crossings are down for various reasons.
But that also has to do with not just the peso, it has to do with all the security now that's been implemented, the National ID Act, and everything else. Okay.
Slowdown in maquiladoras, it's a whole range of reasons. The parking system fund, we show revenues over expenses of 80,000 through June. Public transit, transit system is, we obviously we operate at a loss, like most transit systems, all transit systems throughout the U.S. We have a loss of 3.4 million, but the federal government takes in or gives us 1.7 of the loss, or half of the loss. We got 1.7 million, and then the difference is made up of various other revenue sources. And one of them is the state operating assistance grant, 535,000, and then there's a transfer from the general fund through June of 1,059,628. The Brownsville Golf Center shows expenses exceeding revenues of 234,000. Most of the revenues at the Golf Center are collected or recognized at the beginning of the fiscal year, and one of the reasons is because we have the winter tourists. Winter Texans, they play during the winter months, and it's a higher increase during those, and it slows down towards the end of the year. This is a comparison of our medical insurance fund.
Go back to the golf, Pete.
Yes.
How are our fees compared to other golf courses in the area?
I would say that we're still below.
Well, can we help maybe reduce that deficit by at least putting them comparable to theirs?
We can certainly look at it, Mayor.
Can you please look at that? Thank you.
Going back to the medical insurance fund, right now through June we have 7.4 million in expenses compared to last year's of 12.6 million. We're seeing better results because we did change the networks. Obviously there's also investments.
Pete, Commissioner
I have a
Gallo wants to
question.
be recognized.
Are you able to track what the claims are for and if there's a commonality there?
Commissioner, yes, we have the Texas Municipal League, IEP. They are the third-party administrators. They look at this very closely. They question claims. And they also have a plan where our employees that have serious illnesses get phone calls from nurses, doctors to make sure that they are following make sure they're following their medication, make sure they're exercising in some cases. I know I get a call, in my case, from a nurse, making sure that I keep up with what the doctor is ordering me to do, and so that's on the employee side.
Well,
but to answer your question, yes, we do.
Because what I was getting at is if you find that, 50% are because of hypertension, then we ought to consider designing a wellness initiative to reach out to the city employees and bring that down. The best way to lower prices is to prevent disease.
Yes, and you're correct, Commissioner. We do have TML representatives come and talk to us, and they tell us of the hypertension employees that we have, the diabetes. We do have some of those cases, and that's what we probably need to do, like you're telling us, health
Wellness program.
Wellness. And we've done that.
We have a wellness program?
Yes. Well, I know that we've done it. We have meetings. TML representatives come down and talk to us about wellness, and we have also people from the hospital that talk to our employees on how to prevent some of these diseases.
I would suggest that we consider, and I'm not meaning this second, but many companies have proven savings in initiating wellness initiatives of their own. In other words, it's one thing for TML to call you up and tell you one thing. It's different if your employer is talking to you and encouraging you in a positive way. So we can save a great deal of money if we had a wellness initiative.
City Manager, you want to say something? The chair recognizes.
On the topic of wellness?
Yes, it seems like you wanted to say something.
We have done a lot of initiatives to try to really enhance our wellness program, but we do have constant communication with other regional. They come and do a lot of presentations to our employees, offer ideas about how to take care of yourself. We also have worked with a lot of gyms in the city to lower cost, admission costs for employees. We've done well there. We've also worked with them to try to get them to involve themselves in athletic events we have at the sports park or any of the other parks. Open up the gyms that we have for them to use. We're trying to do a lot of things to try to encourage them and offer nutrition type.
What gyms are available to the employees?
We have the gym at 7th and Tyler with the old Boys and Girls Club gym. Gonzalez gym and Olivera gym. And,
but do we have any kind of program for them to follow, like maybe some type of structured program to where they show up at a certain hour and have a class and wellness?
Well, what we try to do is keep the gyms open after we finish with the activities. Of course, we have a lot of activities with the youth during the summer and things like that, but we try to keep the gyms open and offer them an opportunity to participate in a lot of events we have within the gym. We have purchased some equipment and installed it there, exercise bicycles and things like that. A lot of it comes from them. They have to be willing to participate.
Exactly my point, which is why in very progressive companies, they are incentivizing the use of those equipment. For example, USSA in San Antonio gives a discount to employees based on how many times a week they go to the gym. If you don't go to the gym, you don't get as many benefits. If you do go to the gym, and I'm simplifying it, but there's a lot more to it. If you do go to the gym, if you do prove in an accountable way that you are improving your health, then your health insurance benefits get cheaper. So there's an incentive, not just the availability of the gym, but an incentive to use it.
Well, where we are at is we've gotten the gyms to agree to give discounts to city employees. And if more city employees participate in the program that they have, the cost is lower. So we have done that.
I would suggest that we move even one step forward.
I would say you're right.
And follow whether or not it's productive. If you open the gyms but it's not making any difference in the number of claims that you were receiving, then it makes no point. There's no point to opening the gyms.
Well, we're talking about private gyms,
right.
membership
You follow
gyms.
what I'm
yeah.
saying. If you have to have some benchmarks there.
Yes, ma'am. May I have the floor?
And also, Commissioner Camarillo is recognized.
You know what, Dr. Young, you bring up a good point. There's many municipalities across the state that are trying to put preventative measures to offset the healthcare costs to municipalities. And I think you brought up a good point where we need to see this either, pie graph that shows, percentage of city employees have this or have that, and know who they are so that we can say, okay, we know this group needs to do the following. Because then how do we track? We wouldn't know.
And we do get reports from TML regarding this, but some of the things that we've also found out is that some of the major claims are from retirees, and we also see a lot of large claims from dependents. We see kidney problems, we have heart problems, and these are major costs because they exceed over 100,000. But some of our dependents, the majority, well, I shouldn't say the majority, a big chunk is from dependents and retirees.
The accountability and the benchmarks are important. Otherwise, Valley Regional or Valley Baptist can come and talk about diabetes 1,000 times, but it doesn't make a difference if you don't, or if you are not able to track it. The other thing is that there are a lot of grants available to communities who can prove that their wellness program is making a difference. So the system may, in fact, be able to pay for itself in some substantial manner. But if you can't prove improvement, then you don't qualify.
And like I said earlier, we do get reports. All we have to do is call TML. They're very, very good at it. They have all the information. They have charts. They tell you what range of individuals, as far as age. We have major claims by gender. They've got all that information. And maybe that's something we need to use and possibly implement and follow your recommendation.
Okay, Chair recognizes Commissioner Atkinson.
I just want to add to that, UTB just built a wellness gym. You know, and a lot of our employees go to UTB. Maybe UTB could work with the city more in providing the facilities they've built to our employees. It's fine to say the city should step it up, and we should, but we have other entities. If they want to imagine working together, then let's utilize their facilities and offer those facilities to our city employees, and I think everybody wins at the end. So I think we need to reach out to them and get them on the table, because UTB is a big part of this wellness. You know, they are an entity that has these facilities already in place.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak? Commissioner Gowan?
One more thing. You bring up a good point, and the School of Public Health has offered and actually is implementing, working with the county about their wellness program and designing accountability for that so that they can do some of the things that I'm talking about. Availability and is one important piece. Accountability is another, and incentivizing. Without that, it won't work.
Okay. Anything else from the Commission? Okay. Please proceed.
The last schedule is our investments for the city through June, and there is a drop as far as investments from 106 million a year ago to 86 million, and some of this can be contributed to the revenue decrease, as well as some of our bond funds being spent. We also invest for 3 other agencies: the BCIC, the PID, which that's the Public Improvement District, Paseo La Resaca, and GBIC, and that concludes my report.
Okay. Commissioner Atkinson wants to be recognized.
We had talked about this a long time ago. Skip, before he left, was making moves to, because from what I understand, the PID is under the Paseo de la Plaza, which is in your district, and before, the PID was supposed to be used, the monies that people paid in those subdivisions paid a PID tax for improvements in their areas. Well, I like Charlie's way of wording, where we have sins of our fathers, whatever it took, but we gave up we took over improving. The city of Brownsville goes out there and maintains all these areas now. And where's that PID money going now? PID money is still being paid by citizens that live in the houses in that district, but the cities has been burdened. The Parks and Rec has been burdened to go cut the grass and improve in all those areas. So here, if I live in that district, I'm paying a tax to the city of Brownsville as a taxpayer, but I'm also paying a PID, a mud and a PID. What am I getting out of the PID now? Where is that money going? Where is that money going? And Skip recognized that we needed to pull out. Whatever agreement they made back then, the commission, we need to change it. We need to pull out of there and let the PID, which is that money's intended to fix and improve that area, should be going to that.
Well, the Public Improvement District did build the park the trails that are inside the area. And the city commission agreed to take over the park.
Yeah, but nobody uses it but the people in that district.
It's a city park.
Yeah, but that's a catch, man. We gotta stop thinking like, oh, they did us a favor. They did us a favor because why? They're still collecting the PID.
They collect.
And now the city gets to just, oh, we're giving you a park, city.
Yeah,
well, you're gonna maintain it now.
But that's what the city agreed to do. That's the city's fault for agreeing to take
I
over
totally
the
agree with
streets,
that, but
taking over the easements. We got into a bad agreement, we accepted it. So, I mean, I don't think you can go back and
No,
change
we
it.
can
That's up
change
to
it.
legal.
We
That's
can
up to
change
legal. City attorney, you paying attention? Okay. You want to comment on this?
I've got the answer.
Commissioner Woody wants to be recognized?
This was before us, when that agreement was done.
That's right.
I'm not gonna go accusing people of anything, but it was just a bad decision made by a city council
What can be correct?
back then. We called Bill Hudson up on it in 2004, and he came before the city commission and told us that that was money that was given, that he was entitled to, through the pit and the mud agreement. That was given to him through the city commission, and if we tried to revert or we tried to change, he had every legal right to sue us, and which was indeed correct. So anytime that we've tried to approach Mr. Hudson about the pit and the mud and about returning that to the citizens or about getting out of that binding agreement, he says he'll sue us. So,
Is that what we're at?
yeah.
So that's something for legal, not for us. Any other questions from this commission? Thank you, Pete. This is an action item. The chair calls for a motion.
Move to acknowledge.
We have a motion to acknowledge for Commissioner Camarillo. The chair calls for a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Longoria. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 18, consideration and action to acknowledge the city's fiscal year 2010 budget calendar regarding actions to be taken by city staff and city commission during the upcoming months that will result in the adoption of the city's fiscal year 2010 budget in September 14th, 2009, or soon thereafter.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, we do have a calendar to approve the upcoming 2010 budget. We started working on our budget in May of late May of this year. We anticipate, and there's a calendar of all the things that are taking place, or that will be taking place. We do expect to have a certified tax roll sometime this week. We are scheduled for a public hearing on the budget on August 4th. There will be several meetings on the budget. There's another one on the 11th of August, and then there's another on August 25th, September 1st, September 14th, and September 15th. On September 14th, that's when we are scheduled to have the budget for 2010 approved, or bring it to your attention so you can approve it.
Okay,
And,
this is an action item.
this
The
is
motion calls for, the chair calls for a motion. Commissioner Longoria, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Troyani. Any discussion?
Yes,
Commissioner Zamora?
yes. Other entities have budget retreats for the city commission, city manager, and department heads so that the city commission can gain a better understanding of the proposed budget. Do we do that here? And if not, can we possibly have something like that in the future?
We do that.
We can certainly do it. It takes a lot of time on everybody's part.
No, but she said you meet with the department. You're doing that already.
Yeah.
With the city commission, other entities have budget retreats for the city commission
Oh, I
so
see
that
what
we
you're
can have a better understanding of the budget.
Well, that would take a lot of time.
How detailed do you want to go?
Well, I mean,
Why don't you do
for
this? Why
myself.
don't you invite the commissioners?
Because this book is very detailed, and it takes quite a while.
I think she wants to be more engaged, if I understand her right. When you have your budget meetings with your department heads, you could
Which we
easily
already
invite-
did.
You could easily invite her, that way
Yes,
she's hearing from the department heads.
We can do that next year, because we have already met with the departments and to go over some of their budgets. But we can certainly be with you, absolutely.
I would like to as well.
I mean, the department heads come up with this wish list, and there's only so much money, so you have to prioritize and all that. And they want to hear everything about what's going on.
And there's more requests than there is money available.
Okay, so you can just notify them, okay?
We got all that information, what they requested and what was approved and not approved, so you could.
But you don't have a problem with it participating, do you? I mean, going to the meeting? Okay, taken care of. Okay. We have, anybody else want to speak on the subject? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 19.
Item 19, consideration and possible action in regards to a memorandum of understanding between the Brownsville PUB and the City of Brownsville for impact fee implementation.
Mr. Saucy requested that we table this.
Move to table.
Second. The chair calls for a motion.
Move to
We have a
table.
motion to table by Commissioner Camarillo. Chair calls for a second. Second by Commissioner Atkinson to table. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 21.
Item 21, consideration and action to authorize the Brownsville Fire Department to donate obsolete bunker gear to the cities of Matamoros, San Miguel de Allende, and Ciudad Valles in Mexico.
Tampico's our sister city also. Why don't you include them?
They have never approached me about any donations, sir. That's one of the reasons.
Okay.
Basically, if the list I have before you, the bunker gear and the bunker pants will be divided up evenly between the three cities. The rest of the gear will be divided between San Miguel de Allende and Matamoros, especially.
Is San Miguel Allende our sister city?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody wants to be recognized in this? Can I have a motion?
So move.
We have a motion by Commissioner Longoria. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Camarillo. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next time, consider Tampico, since it is a sister city.
I'll try to approach, if you can give me a contact name,
I have
Mayor.
direct contact with him.
I'll contact them and ask them, and I'll put them on the list.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Item 22.
Item 22, consideration and action on resolution number 2009-044 to authorize the city manager to accept grant number SATO 11004110 from the Auto Burglary and Theft Prevention Authority for the South Texas Auto Theft Enforcement Task Force project for fiscal year 2009-2010 in the amount of $1,233,185.
Mayor, members of the City Commission, good evening. The South Texas Auto Theft Enforcement Task Force is a multi-jurisdictional task force. The City of McAllen, City of Brownsville, County Tax Assessor's Office, the City of FAR, the City of Edinburgh participate. We've been funded by this authority since 1993. We've been the lead agency for this grant application since then. This amount that's being awarded to us, $607,288, is what the City of Brownsville will get.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion.
Motion.
We have a motion by Dr. Gowan. Can I have a second? Second by Commissioner Atkinson. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 23.
Item 23, consideration and action to authorize the acceptance and execution of a gang initiative grant that has been awarded to the Brownsville Police Department in the amount of $133,746.96 for fiscal year 2009.
This is a grant that comes out of the governor's office. We were notified many months ago to apply for this grant, that this money was available to us. The grant awards just came out here at the beginning of the month. We do have until the end of the calendar year to utilize this amount of money. There is no cash match on the city's part.
Okay, this is an action item. The chair will entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Triani. Chair will ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Camarillo. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Item 24.
Item 24, consideration and action to award a contract for airport main terminal parking lot improvements for the Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners. Staff recommendation is to award a term contract for main terminal parking lot improvements for the Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport. Excuse me, to R&R Paving of San Benito, Texas, the low responsible bidder for a base bid price of $50,000 $487.85, and an alternate option in the amount of $40,524 for a total cost of $91,011.85. It's where it came in under the engineer's estimate, and it will be completed within 30 consecutive calendar days. Funding for this construction project it's available. It comes from the Texas Department of Aviation grant, 50%, and 50% out of the GBIC CD program for a total of $100,000.
Okay, the chair entertains a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Longoria. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zamora. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 25.
Item 25, consideration and action for the sale of a used city vehicle to Mrs. Sylvia Gutierrez, widow of former Brownsville Police Officer Ruben Gutierrez.
Staff recommendation is to award the sale of a 1999 Chevrolet Tahoe as is to widow of former Brownsville Police Officer Ruben Gutierrez in the amount of $1,850. And this concurs with the Police Department Administration recommendation from the Chief.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to ask that this item be tabled.
Okay, is there a reason?
It's the sale of a private vehicle to a private individual without an auction.
We have a request to be tabled by City Attorney. Chief, you want to say something?
If at the request of legal they want to you want to table it, that's fine with me. This is something that Mrs. Gutierrez has been asking for the last 2 years since the passing of her husband. Back then, what I did, I got some advice from our former purchasing director, which advised that it could be done in this manner. I brought it again before the attention of Mr. John Chelsea. I know he's not here today, and the purchasing director. And at that time, it was best that we brought it before the city commission before, exercising this. So, but if Mr. Chelsea feels more comfortable in taking time into reviewing this matter and table it for the next meeting, I have no problems with that.
Okay, at the request of City Attorney Saucy, can we have a motion to table?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Zamora. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Gowan. Any further discussion? We'll table it until the next meeting. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 26.
Item 26.
Consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of one Type 3 paratransit van for the Brownsville Urban System Department.
Staff recommendation is to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of one Type 3 paratransit van for the Brownsville Urban System to National Bus Sales of Marietta, Georgia, in the amount of $65,066.64. This is via an HEAC contract, which includes an HEAC order processing fee of $600, which is already included in the amount. Delivery of this paratransit van is 120 calendar days, and funding is available from the Federal Transit Administration via the Texas Department of Transportation capital grant. 83% is a federal grant and 17% is a local match.
Would approve.
Okay, the chair calls for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Camarillo. Chair calls for a second. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Gowan. Any discussion? The chair recognizes Commissioner Triani.
The funds for the matching portion of the grant, are they already accounted for, or is this something that has to be taken out of the budget? What is the situation there?
It's already in place. The matching, the 17% or the $11,393.
So this isn't something that we're going to have to go out on bonds for, or that the money's not available?
It's already in place.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion from the Commission? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 27, City Secretary.
Item 27, consideration and action to award a contract for surveying and environmental services for New Freedom Capital Project from current term contract for engineering and surveying services on a rotation list for the Brownsville Urban System.
Staff recommendation is to award a contract for surveying and environmental services for the New Freedom Capital Project from the current term contract for engineering and surveying services on a rotation list. And this goes for the Brownsville Urban System Department to Ambutech Civil Engineering Group of Brownsville, Texas, for a lump sum in the amount of $83,100. The completion of the programmatic categorical exclusion is 4 to 6 weeks once they have the authorization to proceed, and the review time for these PC determination for the Environmental Division of the Texas Department of Transportation is approximately 6 months from the time of the submittal. Funding for this procurement is available from a grant fund, and once again, this is 80% federal grant and 20% local match. Funding is in place.
The chair recognizes Commissioner Longoria.
Just a correction, it was 88,100, not 83,000?
It's 88,100, I'm sorry.
Okay. The chair calls for a vote. A motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Longoria,
Second?
second by Commissioner Zamora. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 28.
Item 28, consideration and action to award a term contract for the purchase and delivery of bunker gear for the Brownsville Fire Department.
Staff recommendation is to award a term contract for the purchase and delivery of bunker gear for the Brownsville Fire Department to Casco Industries of Houston, Texas, the lowest responsible bidder, for a total price of $1,406 for the total set of the jacket and the trousers. This is a term contract, and it is shall expire on September 30th, 2010, with 2 additional year extension. With a 5% increase. Funding is in place, and this money is coming out of the general fund.
Okay.
Move to approve.
This is an action item. The chair calls for a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Camarillo. The chair calls for a second. Can we have a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Zamora. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The chair calls for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
We have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Gowan, second by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed can stay. It's right there.